JORDANCLARKSON.
Okay, can we just ask you about that? Like, you were just like at the mall and she was just like, "Hey, do you have a take on like jazz? Like, what? How did that actually happen?"
Well, I was like furniture shopping,
Okay.
and I just walked out, and then she was like, "Yeah, can I ask you some questions?" I thought it was gonna be about like the city or something. I was just like, "All right, cool." She was like, "Can you spell your name?" I mean, y'all seen the video, so I just was like, "All right, yeah, cool." Like, I'm gonna answer the questions like she asked me. She asked me if I went to a lot of Jazz games. I said, "Yeah, a lot." Probably should have said I get courtside tickets and all that, but I just wanted to keep it calm and chill with her.
Did you at any point in time think about saying, "Hey, I'm a player"?
Nah. I just let it. I gotta keep it playing, man. Just let her keep rolling, and kept asking questions. She was like, "Hey, would you ever play for the Jazz?" Then I might have been like, "Yeah, I actually do. I play for the Jazz right now." But she kept the questions nice and short and sweet.
How long did this exchange go on?
We interviewed for like a minute. We was talking about I think like the tickets and having fans and all of that. They were saying like some fans wasn't gonna come, but I mean if you don't come, you missing the best show in town for real. So you know how it is. We about to get to it, get after it. We got one main goal this year, and we're gonna rack up a lot of wins. So if you do what you got to do, get your COVID test, get your vaccine, just be at the games, because we're gonna put on a great show for everybody this year.
To that point, Jordan, Justin Zanik was just in here and told us that the team and staff and everyone is 100% vaccinated. I'm sure that you've seen the news coming out in recent days. There's players that are pushing back. And is it a point of pride for you to know that this team is all on board on the same page?
Yeah. Everybody has their own personal decisions and stuff like that. But to have everybody, ready and, who knows? People still can get, the virus and stuff like that. But to have everybody, vaccinated, ready to play, and able to, do team things and still have access, not to be locked in the room this year. And, we got new guys, so, it's going to be nice to, bring them all in and kind of bond with them. So it's definitely, something that I feel is great for us and great for the team. And we ready to go.
What are you most excited for in terms of like what's different this year versus last year?
Like
I guess mostly on court.
Yeah, we got some new faces. Definitely like to see what everybody brings to the team. I ran some pickup games. What was it this last week? Seeing a bunch of the guys. Eric being a dog and how talkative he is, and he's someone that I really haven't watched and seen much of, but what I've seen in those pickup games is a great addition to the team. And then Hassan being so big and being able to move and what he's done in his NBA career, and he's hungry, and it's great to see that as well. And then the new guys, JB and everybody, I'm excited to see those guys grow and continue to be great additions to this team as well.
What do you think of Jared Butler? Because a lot of people behind the scenes have been saying that he's kind of nice with it. So
yeah, he got game. He's he has great pace. He's really shifty, and he can shoot the ball as well. So if you can shoot the ball in the league, you're gonna be around here for a while. But I think he's great. He's gonna continue to grow as a player as well. So just seeing him in those pickup games, and him, this training camp gonna be big for him as well. But I'm excited to see what he got in store for us as well too.
What was the highlight of your offseason?
Highlight of my offseason, laying down in my bed. It was a busy offseason for me, man. New York Fashion Week, traveling, just trying to find time to relax. But it wasn't like a super long offseason, but it's a quick turnaround. But working and just trying to get places and being vaccinated, see people that I haven't seen in like 2 years and stuff like that. So being able to, see people and hang out, chill. But once I got in my bed, man, I was like, and then real talk, the best highlights coming back here, Salt Lake, man. Get this thing started for real.
How did the plan to go to Vegas for Summer League kind of come about? Were you involved in the discussions of that at all?
Yeah, they asked me about it. I'm not a super big fan of going to Vegas, but we're gonna enjoy our time and have fun. It's training camp. It's gonna be cool. It's kind of like almost like a bubble situation where we practicing in the wind. So it's restaurants and stuff to do around there. A few guys probably be on some tables, but but yeah, it's gonna be a great bonding experience. Like you said, taking us out of our element, being at home and being around our families and kids like that. Bringing us all together again. So the bubble made us a lot closer, sped the process up for me as well. So I think it's a good thing to kind of get going early in the season for training camp.
Is it feeling a little bit more normal today than it has the past 2 years?
Yeah, especially seeing y'all. I mean, y'all were just like digital characters to me for this whole season, and then I actually get to see y'all and see y'all faces, and it's dope. It's way better than looking at y'all on a computer screen.
All right.
You obviously.
Sorry, last person in the room. We got one on Zoom, and then
You obviously,
man.
you obviously had an awesome season last year, and I'm curious, kind of, how do you want to build on that for this year? Or, is it just about keeping it going? Is it about adding more to your game? I mean, kind of, how do you approach it?
That season over with. It's like done. Even with the playoffs, I'm not even thinking about that. It's a whole new experience, whole new everything for me. So this season is going to be its own season and its own. So I'm excited for the new experience, and for me, I'm just coming in and trying to do what I do. Help our team, play, make, impact the game when I'm in there in those minutes. Whatever happens, and we trying to win. Day to day for me though. Rack up the wins in the regular season, grow during the regular season, get to the playoffs. Get out the first round, get out the second round, get out the West Coast, and then try to get to the final. So, I mean, that's how it's got to be broken up into, and we can't look past nothing, and we got to stick to that day to day and go through the process of each day.
all right. Last question will be on Zoom. It's from Steve Angeles out of the Philippines. Can you hear me, Steve?
What up, Steve?
So, Jordan,
Is that my jersey?
Yes, it is.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna ask you're like a national hero to us in the Philippines. You did some stuff with anti-Asian hate. You kind of paved the way for other Filipinos to join the league. You actually get Jalen Green your 4th game of the season. Just what do you think about this whole ride and where you're at now? We were so proud of you when you got the 6th Man Award. Just how do you feel about how you represented the Asian Filipino community through your career?
I think it's been great. I feel like I've received so much love, and trying to continue to represent the country and the people and everything. So the process has been great. Something that that humbles me all the time. I didn't know how big and how much love the Philippines have for basketball. But being able to, feel that and, trying to make them proud and trying to pave a way for, other Filipino Americans and, Filipinos, period, has just been, one of my, motives and stuff that's always in the back of my head when stepping on the court. It's nice seeing Jalen Green. He took the G League route and, made his way. He had a great summer league. And, he's getting a chance to play in Houston and have an opportunity to grow into a star. So I'm very excited for him, his family, and everything. And, the next guys coming up, hopefully they can follow in, you know, my footsteps and his footsteps as well. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Peace, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
What was your Olympic experience like, and specifically, one thing specifically, the way that when you posted, you know, and Evan and the guards, they threw you the ball, and if you dropped the pass, they threw you the ball again and again and again. Is that something that you can translate to this season with the Jazz?
I mean, first off, it was a great experience, you know, for us. You know, just the group that we had, you know, being able to go there and, you know, just enjoy it, and at the same time try to be the best team it could be. So it was really fun. Came a little short from the goal, but you know, I'm really happy of the way we the mindset that we had and how we played, and regarding the post and stuff, it's part of the game. I mean, there's gonna be mistakes, but allowing me to make those mistakes and keep trusting me was, you know, really huge for us, and it was fun. You know, it was just fun to be able to, yeah, just get involved and involve my teammates. You know, I was finding my teammates on the cuts, and then I was able to put a lot of pressure on the defense, and it was great for us.
Coming off of a silver medal, what's your motivation like? Does it change? I mean, does it feel like you've accomplished a huge thing in your career, or do you want to build off it?
I mean, I'm not super satisfied of a silver medal. I'm really happy of the experience, and obviously what we did for the country, I think, was huge for the game of basketball in France. So it was great. But no, I'm excited to be here. And you know, and we have bigger goals, winning a championship, and I hope one day also I'm be able to hold that gold medal too.
Obviously didn't get a lot of downtime this offseason. Do you think that'll hurt you going into this season?
I got some downtime. I was able to, you know, take some downtime, then get back to work, get ready for the Olympics. Then I got a little bit of downtime after the Olympics, and then went back to work, and I was in Paris and, you know, doing a lot of stuff outside the court too. But I'm feeling great. You know, I'm feeling recharged, and I'm excited.
After the Clipper series, obviously everyone was just kind of extremely frustrated, right? And kind of wondering, like, now that you've got the benefit of multiple months of looking back on that series and kind of what happened, what do you think about it now, and kind of what lessons do you take for next year?
I mean, it was a mix of a lot of things. The injuries, and, you know, you gotta also give credit to the Clippers, who really played great. I mean, they had other guys that stepped up, and, you know, they played really good basketball. And you know, it just motivates you to get better, and individually first, and of course as a team. And I think we all had time to reflect and see what can we do so that doesn't happen again, pretty much.
The obvious question is, what can you get better at? What do you want to get better at, both individually and as a team?
I mean, for me, it's just keep building on both ends, and offensively. I mean, teams should be able to switch, and it's on me to give the confidence to my teammates and my coach to put me in a position when I can punish these teams, and not just by rebounding. So, you know, it's this summer was great for that. You know, I try to really use the Olympics to, you know, get better at that. And Team USA was actually switching too, so it was great. You know, just great learning experience. And, you know, it's all about using those tough losses to get better.
What gave you encouragement about, you know, you guys being able to take that next step this coming season?
What is the beginning?
So what gives you encouragement that you guys are going to be more capable of taking that next step this coming season?
I think just our mindset. You know, we have a lot of young guys that just want to win, first of all, and that want to keep getting better. And you know, everyone wants to get better, and you know, we've been doing that since I've been here, over the last 9 years. So it's, it's all about, you know, coming in with the right mindset, support one another, you know, make each other better, and I think great things can happen.
How important is this season for you guys as a franchise, as an organization?
I mean, we really feel like we have an opportunity to do something special in the next few years, and we know that, you know, those windows, you don't get that many of those windows in your career, so it's a great opportunity for us to, no matter what happens, to really try to be the best we can be, and it's exciting. It's exciting to, you know, after all those years of, you know, losing, learning, being part of a group that wants to do something even better. It's exciting.
How do you sort of balance over the last few years? You've seen the first round and the second round a few times now. How do you balance being frustrated, not being able to get past that, but also using it as motivation?
I mean, just about, you know, like it's only a few. Sometimes it can be one game that just flips, makes the difference between you going to the Western Conference Finals or losing the second round. So it's like I said, you know, it's all about having that mindset of just getting better and better and keep enjoying it, you know, and see what happens.
Was it a difficult decision for you to get vaccinated?
I took my time. You know, I took my time. I didn't want to, you know, be pressured by it, and, you know, talk to a lot of people, waited a little bit, and when I felt like it was time, I did.
Nice to have the whole team. I mean, does it just make things easier going into the season?
I mean, regarding all the protocols, yes. You know, I still think it's a personal choice, and no one should be pressured by doing it. But it's cool that we have the whole group, and that everyone is really making sure that, you know, we're not making that a distraction for the team, and it just shows. You know, it just shows that we're ready to try to accomplish something together.
What made you decide after waiting to eventually
like I said, you know, I think it's personal, and, you know, everyone's different. I did my research, talked to a lot of people, and, you know, and did what I had to do.
What does Hassan Whiteside do differently than you? And are there things you guys can learn from each other?
I mean, he's a really good player, to be honest, and I've watched him over the years. You know, he can really impact games in unique ways, and he can really change the game just by his presence and his instinct, and on both ends. You know, offensively, I think he puts a lot of pressure on the rim, and he got good hands. He can finish, and, you know, like I said, with all guards, I think it's going to be tough for the defense to stop that pick and roll and stop him on the balls too. So that's great. And defensively, you know, he's really there's not that many players that can completely change the game by just their presence and altering shots, blocking shots defensively. So I'm excited.
After the way you guys went out against the Clippers, did you come away feeling more like injuries played a big part, and had those not happened, you could have maybe gone further, or did you come away feeling like the changes that were made this offseason were kind of necessary changes for you guys to go further?
I mean, I think it's, you know, just like every year, we try to look at what do we need, what can really help us to maybe take a step forward, and, you know, and the front office is really you know, making those decisions, and I think we got some guys that can really help us, and, you know, we saw that we needed to get a little better defensively, especially in the playoffs, and I think we got some guys that can really help us do that and help our team.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rudy.
My name is Michael Scott.
What's been your two-part question? What's been your experience in OTAs? Just going up and down. And how big a training camp is this for you, given that you didn't play in summer league?
Yeah, so OTA has been pretty good for me. I've been taking it more seriously than I think the other guys, just because I didn't play summer league and just trying to get a feel of the game and speed and just to get adjusted to the length and strength and all that. And this training camp is big for me, just for any rookie in general, but also for me because I feel like I can impact this team and then learning the plays and all that stuff. It's just big for me for sure.
I gotta ask, how was you momentarily a cheerleader at the BYU game on Saturday?
Did everybody see this?
Yeah,
I did it for a good reason, trust me.
What was the reason?
It's a very good reason, like 500 reasons, so. I think everybody would have done it.
Wait a minute, okay, so who was this with?
I ain't gonna do all that. It's kind of locker room talk, With 500 reasons, so.
What do you want to show this year just on the court? Obviously, again, you mentioned not having a summer league. So what is it that you want to show that you can do in this training camp?
Just reliability, being able to, you can rely on me in big moments, and moments where, guys need rest, and moments where they need me to step up and, hit big shots. Just being reliable and being able to depend on Jared and not, see him as a rookie and undependable, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But that said, you obviously are coming into a really good team without like an easy spot to be like, okay, I'm going to get minutes. So how do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think a lot of rookies are probably going to go through this, but for me, I just try to take everything as a positive. If I'm not playing, that means I'm learning. If I am playing, great, So just trying to take every circumstance that I'm put in and make the most out of it. Not expecting anything. But at the same time, I know my talents and my abilities. Does that make sense?
Somebody else?
That's it. All right, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good.
That was fun. We should have invited that lovely lady. How are we?
Good. How important is this season for you guys?
It's important. I think we take every season as important as the next. Obviously, it's very different from this media day to my first one 7 years ago with the team, and obviously a lot's gone on and changed. So after last year and obviously falling short in after a regular season that we had is obviously disappointing, and I think you can learn a lot from it. You can point fingers at a few different things, but there's no point really wasting our time of things that are uncontrollable. Obviously, I think this year we're deeper. I think we've got the chance, whether that's rest or minutes or whatever it is, to get guys. I think I was just saying next door, like the biggest thing, regular season's great, but you don't get anything for winning the regular season. You want to win in the playoffs. So whatever we have to do to finish as high as we can in the playoffs for whatever positioning that looks like, but then to be healthy in the playoffs and obviously push that and take that as far as we can go. So it's important, as like I said, every season is, but obviously after last year I think we've got a little bit to prove as well.
Speaking of health, do you kind of point to that as the reason you guys fell short? I'm not
going to nitpick on like little things of like if we had Michael Jordan, it'd be great too, wouldn't it? There's so you know what I mean. There's so many little things that you can. If we had this or we didn't have this or this happened or this didn't happen, like maybe if I dropped Miller earlier and I got to shoot around earlier one day, I could have got 3 extra shots up and then I would have made 1 more in the game. Like it just, I don't know. It's having 2 guys, 2 starters, 2 very important pieces not healthy isn't ideal. but that's also the sport we play. Like you deal with. That's why you have a deep team. That's why you have other guys. That's why we have 17 players or something. I don't know how many we got. Whatever. That's why you have the roster we have. So ideally, we want to all play 82 games and then play till whatever the latest possible date is this coming year. But the injuries is a part of what we do as well.
With that in mind, I mean, obviously delivering a healthy roster to the postseason is the most important thing. Do you anticipate that maybe there might be more care taken in managing your guys' minutes this season, especially because you got another quick turnaround?
Yeah. I'm not in those meetings, obviously. I think we would be smart to. I think obviously that's coach and the health team and whoever. I don't even know who really makes those decisions, but whoever that is that sits in that room. I was joking with someone the other day about it. Like if you, I don't know, like say it's 2 minutes less a game over 82 games. I'm not going to do the maths on that because I'm not very smart, but that could be it could be a full game or a couple games that you're actually resting in the scheme of what it looks like. So if we can, it would be great. Obviously, if you're in a close game, there's no way coach is going to pull guys out and all that just for rest. So we'll figure it out along the way. Obviously, a part of being healthy and rest is on ourselves too. We sleep-wise, what you're doing away from your diet. Like there's a million things you can, getting treatment, getting prehab, rehab, like everything is a part of that. That's on the players as well. So it's a collective effort, and if we want to keep talking about wanting to win a championship and doing this, we've got to do everything possible from personally and then from obviously the team's point of view to do that.
With going into your final year of your contract, your kids are school age, you've got a bronze medal now. Do you just look at your career from 30,000 feet and just kind of, you've accomplished a lot in your life that you wanted to, or how do you look at where you are in your professional life?
I definitely off court, I think, in terms of my family. I never imagined Renee would actually go on the first date she did with me, so that was pretty cool. But then to have 3 kids and be what we've what we've gone through with Jacob and his situation, and now my daughter, with the twins, they're in kindergarten age, and so, a lot's gone on, and a lot of that's been here. So obviously this place is pretty special, and I still see. I mean, I feel like I've got a lot left in me. I just said next door, not like a monkey off the back, but winning that medal with Australia was something that I've put a lot of time and effort and off seasons into for 12 years. That, and I would have kept doing it, and I'm still going to keep doing it. But just that, I guess relief is a half decent word for it, but that feeling of finally accomplishing that was something I didn't know it would feel like that, to be honest. Like I thought winning a medal for our country would be amazing and being the first team to do it, but I remember sitting in the locker room post game with Paddy and just we started in 2007 to try and do this thing, and there've been a lot of long off seasons and tiring days and all that to do it, but I did feel some kind of relief or happiness, whatever it was, all combined into one. So kind of being able to not push that to the side because I'm still going to be involved in that, but being able to put that a little bit to the side now, and obviously this year too, really lock in on this season and do something that obviously we believe our team can do. It's exciting. Sorry for the long answer, but
so the medal doesn't feel like an ending. It kind of feels like an opening for more stuff in your basketball
career?
Yeah,
I actually listened to a podcast yesterday with our coach who's Brian Gorgon. He looks like he's 150 the way he moves, but he was our coach in Beijing 2007. And he went back to Wollongong where he coaches in the NBL now, and everyone was asking him the same thing, you've been in lockdown, you do all this, are you fatigued? And it's almost the opposite. It's energizing. It is. It's exciting. It's you want to do more from it. You want to, obviously for me, the boomers now for however many months is pushed to the side, and with next off season having nothing, I can obviously fully put into this season as you every year you say, I'm not going to talk about the Boomers, I'm not going to, but you still get texts and you have to organise your travel, and there's still things that go on throughout the year. And for the next, obviously, year or so, I'm not going to have one part of that except looking at my medal every now and then. So, yeah, it's not, I feel really energised about it. It's almost like you get a bit of success and you want more and more of it, and I think that's what a lot of us were feeling after that Boomers experience.
Do you think it's through the experience of winning the game and getting the medal, and also is it true that you nicked the game ball in the second half?
Who told you that?
I have sources.
I did steal the game ball. Obviously, I think the first thing is that USA game being up 15 and Kevin Durant being Kevin Durant, which was disappointing at the time, but he is who he is. And the hardest part, I remember seeing the locker room post USA, and Gorge, our coach, came in and was like one of the best post game speeches I've ever listened to in my life. And it was up to a couple of days after that, we were 0-11 in those fourth place games. And I remember sitting with Paddy the next day and just like, we're not doing this again. Like I think it was 3 tournaments in a row, we'd finished fourth. Like, we're not doing it again. And without being arrogant or anything, like I just knew we weren't going to lose that game. Obviously, Luka and his team were going to be a hell of a team up to play against to do that and to win the medal, but there was just no way we were going to lose. I think it got back to 3 or something. I haven't watched the game back yet, but I think it got back to 3 in the third quarter or something like that, and it was like the same thing of like, this is happening again, and thanks to Paddy a little bit of having the highest scoring game, I think, in a medal game ever. We were able to achieve it. So just again like that relief and it was fun. I mean, the post game for the week after that was extremely fun as well. And then you get home and realise I was on dad duty for the next 6 weeks until this started. So it was cool to be able to share it with Renee and the kids for obviously the amount of time and stuff they've given up for me to leave the Jazz and go to the off season and go around the world just to try and win this medal, and share it with them, and then spend some time obviously with them, and then obviously get back into this. So it's been a little bit busy, but very kind of rewarding, I guess, for the work that we as a country and team has put in for 12 years.
Renee has been pretty open on her social media about how hard it's been the last 2 years not being able to see family.
Yeah.
What's that been like for you? I mean, we've heard what she said.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get on and do videos on my Instagram very often. I repost all the Renee's, but it's been tough. I don't really voice my thoughts on stuff like that too often, but it's just to have 1-year-old nieces you've never met, to have a 10-month-old son that's never met family. This is obviously the longest we've never been home in my life. For Renee, and I guess from her point of view, I don't know how many of you are that close to your families or not, but she's like, mum and dad FaceTime every day, brother FaceTimes every day. Like it's pretty special, really. And to see that, and to see her like tears on the phone because she can't go, like we know we can't go home. It's especially obviously now as well. With what's going on there with lockdown, and we're in Melbourne, which is the worst place to probably live right now in terms of COVID. So it's been really tough, obviously, to try and, especially when she's over here because of me. So you obviously try and help as much as you can, and we've done everything. We've been denied 3 times to go home. So a part of that is obviously out of our control, which she understands. She doesn't sit there and like blame me every night that it's my fault, but it hurts. It's hard to see her upset, and to hear even the kids are 5, the twins are 5 now, for them to talk about not seeing their grandparents and to not see their cousins and stuff like that. Like it's pretty hard to hear that stuff. So you try and like make it as fun as you can over here, and we took a little trip, and Jacob had been asking to go to the beach for months and months, so we went to San Diego and took him to the beach, and he constantly asks to keep going on the beach, which is hard, but yeah, I mean, it's been hard, and obviously, as you guys know, they're going to be number one in terms of my priorities forever. So yeah, it's hard. I'll do everything I can to try and get them home at some point this year if it's possible. If not, hopefully by the off season, and we'll try and get some family over here or something. But I mean, granted, everyone's been through a rough couple of years. Adding that part of not being able to go home isn't ideal. So it's been tough, but I mean, flip side, we're also very lucky in my point of view in terms of what we're able to do and what I can provide for my family and stuff like that. So we know there's a lot of other people struggling a lot worse than what we are. So it's been a shitty couple of years for everyone, I think.
What do you make of the new additions to the team, Rudy, Hassan, Jared, Eric?
Yeah, I actually got someone asked me after the USA game what I thought about them, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? I don't even really remember who's on our team right now." But no, I mean it's exciting. I think they all bring something different. Like I said, I think we're deeper. Again, you obviously pay credit to the guys that have been here before and last year that helped us have a regular season that we did last year, and obviously I'll miss Georgie. But it is what it is. That's part of the business and what we go through. So I'll get him to buy me dinner in Philly or whatever when we go there. But no, it's an exciting team. I think our guys, the guys at the back are excited to be back. You have some new fresh faces which bring that kind of excitement to the team, and obviously I think bits and pieces of what Ryan's doing as well with the facility and stuff like that. Like it's exciting. There's a lot going on. So I think we're almost at the point where it's like, let's just get going and start to figure it out on court, because we can do this and take beautiful photos out there, but we have to win basketball games at the end of the day, and that's the goal and that's the focus. So we'll obviously head off today and get that started and hopefully kind of gel as quick as possible with the guys we've had and incorporating some new guys and figure it out as soon as we can and get going.
We've seen a lot in recent days that there's been some pushback from players on the vaccination status and concerns about them even being able to show up to training camp or playing games.
Yeah.
You come here and we're told that across the board everyone's 100% vaccinated. What's that like heading into the season, going all on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it puts an ease to a few things. It's still not, like, the world is still not ideal, obviously, with everything, and I'm sure I don't know what any of the protocols are. I really have been obviously switched off from it for that little while with the Boomers, but in terms of protocol, I'm sure there's still going to be things we have to do and testing and whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to know that the guys we're with are as protected, obviously, as we can be. I'm sure we're still going to be masked up at points and, like I said, testing and all that. And even to more extent, obviously, for me with kids and stuff, to know that I can come and do my job. And if someone didn't want to get vaccinated, that's their own choice. I'm not going to judge them or anything like that. But yeah, just to be able to go home to the kids and know that I've been in more or less as safe an environment as I can be. We still, even Renee and the kids, even though the things kind of ease up every month or something different changes, it's been, you still try and be as safe as possible, obviously with a 10-month-old and even with the twins and with Jacob and stuff. So yeah, it's nice to, I guess, a little bit of kind of stress that you don't have to worry about, knowing that we're 100% vaccinated. And hopefully, I don't know if it changes our rules or anything. I'm sure it does some kind of way, but hopefully it
You're in here.
Yeah, I get to see you guys, which is like all I've wanted to do for 2 years. So yeah.
What gives you encouragement that this coming season can be a better one than this last season?
I mean, I think the passion, the drive from the guys is one of the most important things. Like, if guys don't want to be here or don't want to play basketball, it's hard to win games, especially in this league. And how competitive it is. I think all the guys that are coming back from last year realise the opportunities we had, and obviously we didn't play the best. And again, with those like nitpicking of whatever it could be, you add some fresh faces, some new guys. It's exciting. I haven't seen Coach today, but I've seen him a bit throughout this last few weeks, and just the excitement and like everybody getting fresh and knowing what we achieved last year, and obviously wanting to now emulate that again, and like I said, be healthier and going into the playoffs and do what we believe we can do in the postseason, not just obviously in the regular season. So I think it's kind of time as well for not enough talking about it, because you have to talk about it. You guys are going to make us talk about basketball, but we have to put what we say and all of that into action now. Like if we're talking about winning, like let's go and do it. Like there's enough, have enough meetings throughout the year, and we talk to each other enough throughout the year. Like let's go and do it. Like we've got a great opportunity, and why not us? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
How important is this year for you guys as a franchise?
I think it's a big year. I think this is, in my 5 years, I think this is probably one of the biggest for us. I think after the performance we had last year in the regular season, the work we've put in, and obviously coming up short. Obviously, we weren't as healthy as we wanted to be, but I think this is a big year for us just as a whole, because we're not going to sneak up on anybody. Last year, we weren't necessarily in everybody's eyes. Top 8. Now we're here and people see us as that, and it's for us. We got to continue to do what we do, but come out with a fire and a hunger and an edge that I can't say we've had before, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just feel like on a higher level. And I think that's something that we all understand. We've put the work in this summer. We're going to continue to do it through training camp and throughout the season.
Speaking of the work this summer, how much were you able to do just with having to deal with the rehab and the ankle recovery?
I was able to do a good amount. Excuse me. I think I took probably 3 weeks of not doing anything, no basketball, no rehab, and just giving my body time to just relax. I think that was big for myself. I think that was really a good decision for me, because it helped me when I got back to it. That fire and that hunger I was talking about, when you're away from something for so long that you love, you come back and you're ready, you're determined, you're ready to go. And I was able to go down to Miami and work with my team, and I think that was something for me that I was able to accelerate my process and get back to being who I am.
You good now, 100%?
Yeah, good to go.
With the off-season acquisitions, has this team gotten better in your mind? You guys show it on the court, obviously.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've addressed a few things. I think the big thing we saw in the off-season was defensively we needed some different looks. Obviously we're all going to get better in our individual selves, the guys who are coming back. But I think bringing in Eric, who's a dog, Rudy Gay, a veteran who can switch 1 through 5, who can shoot the 3 ball, Hassan Whiteside, and you really don't need to speak about Hassan. We understand what he brings as far as rim protection. I think he's a defensive anchor as well as having Rudy. And I think that's fantastic for us. And I think we are better, but we got to go out there and prove it, and got to go out there and do it.
When the series against the Clippers ended, you'd mentioned like that was going to be something you were thinking about all the time. The grocery store line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you because I know even when we got to the end of last season, you were still talking about the Denver series.
Mm-hmm.
How long does that stick in your mind as a frustration before it turns into motivation?
I think the frustration left probably when Milwaukee won, because now everybody's off. I think everybody's done. And now it turned into, I mean, there's always motivation, I should say. There's always going to be motivation, but I think it turned into from frustration to now, because that kind of lined up into when I'm starting to work back to getting in shape, and, now it comes into your reps. It comes into your, that's where that fuel comes from for me. So, there's still motivation from the Denver series. There's still motivation from all those different things, because at the end of the day, we've had, pretty good regular seasons, and we've had some great seasons, but we haven't really gotten to, the pinnacle of the top. And so for us, it's like, how do we, and for myself, it's how do we get there? And how do we continue to do that, continue to basically get into uncharted territory for a lot of us, outside of a few of us on the team. And I think that's that's where that comes in, because that's definitely what's fueling me, And I said it after we lost to Denver. I said, I told the guys on the bus, like, look, let this eat at you, And I think it's the same with this, whether it's you're supposed to do 8 reps, do 10, like, and little things like that, just kind of changing your mindset and kind of getting you to a point where you're really uncomfortable, but in a good way, because you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's all that is with us, and that's what great teams do. They're able to adapt to different situations and able to put themselves in positions to win at a high level.
What was the feeling when Mike re-signed? Was it relief that you kind of knew you were going to be able to compete at that same high level?
I kind of knew Mike was going to resign. I made the joke on Twitter that I locked him in his house like they did with what's his name, DeAndre Jordan. But I had a feeling, man. It was just we were, and I don't know if he spoke on this, but we spoke on the plane about what he was going to do, and I think for him, he didn't say it, but I kind of felt it. You don't just. You kind of need to run it back. You feel like we could have been, playing in the finals. We could have felt like we could have won. And it's easy to say that, when you're removed from it. Obviously they put the work. Those teams obviously put the work in and whatnot. But I felt like we could be there. And if we came back and ran it back and continued to work, I think we, if we, God willing, are healthy for starters, but also continue to do what we do, I think we can get to that point. But it's a lot of work. It's not a given just because Mike resigns that we're going to be back. But it definitely puts us in a position to be there.
We got the word a couple hours ago that they changed some of the health and performance staff this year. Just kind of curious what your level of kind of comfort is with the current staff and kind of how you see that staff working together with your staff on kind of getting you ready throughout the season.
And most of the staff that's here, I've known since I've been here. We've already started working together with my staff, and things have been great and seamless. So I'm excited. Like I said, they came down to Miami when I was down there, and things have been moving great, moving forward. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just continue to make sure I'm healthy, as well as the team, but myself for my own sake, I'm healthy, my ankle's good, and I think that's really it.
Beyond health, what do you want to do with your game this year?
I think there's another level I can get to. I've said that every year to y'all, but I think it's the truth. I think for me, obviously being able to be more efficient, not just when you think of efficiency, you think of shooting percentage typically, but for me it's turnovers, it's defense. Being able to be, when I'm on the floor, your presence is felt. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just being able to be a leader on the floor, and vocal, as well as being able to do it through action. And I can do it on the offensive end, but picking it up defensively as well, I think it'd be huge.
You're coming. Let's go.
When we talked to Justin Zanik earlier, he said that health is the most important thing, especially for delivering a healthy roster to the playoffs. And that might come this season, especially after another quick turnaround, maybe less minutes to try to conserve you guys, and some guys might get more rest days, stuff like that.
Right.
Is that something that you would push back against, or would you welcome it?
I'm all for ways to make sure we're healthy, especially after. Maybe if you asked me last year before I got hurt, maybe my answer might be different, but understanding the importance of it and the longevity of being healthy, not just for the season but for the playoffs as well. I think I'm all for ways to help us become as healthy, be as healthy as possible, But like I said, if I'm feeling good, and at the end of the day, I trust my staff, and I trust our coaching staff, and I think the great part about it is we've all working together. It's not like here and here we're working together, and I think that's where those conversations come in. And if we're comfortable, we're comfortable. But I think at the end of the day, if we're fighting for God forbid we're fighting for the A spot. I'm not you know what I mean. But I think for us is being smart. I think obviously working hard, but also being smart, because it's a long journey to get to the playoffs, but it's also a longer journey to stay there and be at the top and be at your best every day.
So it's fair to say maybe that the late season injury might have given you a different perspective on kind of what it takes to stay healthy through that part of the season.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't even just say that. I think it's given me it's given me a different perspective, and I've grown to be appreciative of it, because it's helped me understand a lot of different things. As far as on the court, it's helped me understand, what I can do to be better as a player. What I can be better as a leader, but also understanding, like you said, like the health component. We were at a point where guys were at that point in the season. I believe we were at a point where guys were sitting games, and we were doing that in a sense. But I think now it's okay. Understanding that, look, we want to be, the last team standing. I'm not saying that are willing to sit in 5 games. But if it's what's needed, and that's the biggest thing. If it's what's needed, it's not just like I'm just gonna sit. That's not in my DNA. That's not my personality. That's not in any of our DNAs or personalities. But understanding that the goal is to be playing into June, so that's whatever it takes to get there.
How important is
told us that the team is 100% vaccinated. How important is it, and what does it mean to have, that not be a distraction, not have to answer questions about that, and know that, guys are going to be available everywhere you go?
I think it's great that we're all vaccinated. I think I think we've seen obviously on the news of different guys from different teams, but at the end of the day, it's a personal decision. But I definitely encourage not just my teammates, but I encourage people to get vaccinated so we can get past this. I think that's something that's definitely important. But for us, I think as a team, I think it's something that we can continue to not continue, but we like you said, be available. We are available, and we don't have to worry about going to, I think it's New York and California, right? I think those are 2 places that are you would be running into some issues. So I think for us is just being able to be there and be healthy. I think that's and be able to be available. I think that's the biggest thing for us. So I'm glad we're all vaccinated and ready to go.
How important do you think seeding is?
I think that's a good question. I think obviously it's different now, I think, than my first 3 years because of the play-in tournament. So I think it's a little different because of the play-in tournament means, there's, I think it's 3 through 6 know they're playing for like 5 days, and then 1 and 2 don't. But, obviously that didn't matter because the Phoenix Suns made it to the finals anyway. But I think for us, you always want to be top seed in the West. But like I said, the goal is to be the last team standing, and there's, I don't know the stats behind what team is what seed going into the playoffs and whatnot, but, I think we have the personnel to be the top team, and we have to continue to put the work in. I think it's going to be a fight in the West. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but whatever it takes for us to be the last team, whether that's us being the 1 seed or the 5 seed, we're all pushing to be the 1. We don't push to be 5th. You know what I mean? We're not out here just saying like, all right, let's go be the 5th seed, and we know that's not the goal. The goal is to be the best team in the league. But on top of that, the goal is to be the last team in the league standing too. So obviously we're all pushing to be the best team coming out of the regular season, but then also win.
Sorry about that. Are you guys at the point where, I don't want to say the regular season doesn't matter, but are you at the point where you're just going to be solely judged by what you do in the playoffs?
I want to say yes because that discredits a lot of the work we put in to get there. I think there is a point where we've shown what we can do pretty much every regular season since I've been here. We've shown what team we can be, but we gotta make this push, man. Like this, it's no secret. My first year we had a great season. Obviously low expectations. Obviously losing Gordon and things like that, being underdogs, and then our second year we played the Rockets, another underdog, didn't fare well for us, and then. The Denver series, we really didn't know who we were as a team. Bojan wasn't there, Mike wasn't there, but we saw glimpses. And then you have last year where we saw what we can be throughout the regular season, and then we ended up not healthy. So I think for us, this is a big year for us as far as expectations within ourselves. Not even just the outside perspective, but just for us. Like I think this is a year where it's like, look, man, like we can do this, and it's a matter of putting the work in for the full 82, and then getting there for the final 16 wins. Like that's what we kind of, I guess you can say yes, that's going to define us. That's obviously where a lot of players are defined in their careers too, outside of the team aspect. So I think for us, it's like, okay, we can be this team. We know what we can do in the regular season, but playoff time, it's like, look, this is where we got to go out there and prove ourselves.
Chemistry is such a big part of this team. There's some new faces you're bringing in, but to have your best friend from childhood, and how much does that help facilitate that chemistry?
Man, I think it's great, man. It's one of those things where we had the opportunity to make it happen. And I was like, man, like this, I didn't think it was actually going to happen. You know what I mean? I thought it was like one of those things like, I'd be great. Oh man, that'd be dope. But we didn't really think it actually happened. And to have Eric here, obviously we grew up across the street from each other, played the same AU team, same church, same everything. And my best friend to this day, to have him on a team that's already great with chemistry, I think is is incredible, and he's more of a shit talker than I am. So I think that's what's going to create, bring light to the locker room in a sense. And I think on the court, he's going to be there for us, be a dog, and just be, a guy who's there for us. I think, and at the same token, he's in his third year. He's still learning as well, and that's where it helps having guys like, Rudy Gay coming in, you have Mike, you have having the staff that we have being able to kind of facilitate and kind of just be there for us as a whole. Obviously I'm 5 years in too, but we're all relatively young in a sense. So for us, just kind of having that, and enjoying ourselves and living out our childhood dream, but also taking care of business as well.
Not to sound crass, but sorry, your financial situation changes significantly this year. You're not on your rookie deal anymore. How does that change life off the floor and then pressure on the floor?
To be honest with you, I've kind of felt that pressure since year 2. To be honest with you, I think after what I did my first year, it was kind of like an expectation. It's kind of, you can go 1-2 ways. You can be a one-hit wonder. You can take off. So I feel like as far as on the court pressure, I don't feel like it's any different. I think, off the floor, I'm able to obviously take care of my family. Like I said, I'm blessed that I don't have to play this game again and be taken care of for life, and I'm truly blessed and honored. But there's more to it. I played this game, obviously to win, to be a champion, to be the best player and I could possibly be. So for me, that's really what it is, and help this team win. That's really my goal. But I don't think it adds any pressure on me.
There's some different personnel on the roster, and it kind of, especially with Rudy Gay, gives you more of an opportunity to play some small ball 5 and play some different looks that you maybe haven't seen, especially last season. Are you looking forward to the opportunity to play kind of different style?
Sorry, Mike's back there. But yeah, I think so. I think it definitely gives us a different look. I think we're being able to not be schemed on one look, I think is definitely helpful. And then having a guy like Rudy, who's, like I said, he's been in the league, he's been on playoff teams, played with Mike, so play one of our for so many years, play with our point guard, and then also being able, he shoots, I think it was 40% from 3, something like that. My numbers could be off, but I think that adding that dynamic, at the 5, I think it'd be huge, especially offensively, but also defensively as well.
We got time for one more.
What's it like, kind of re-engaging with the community or at the BYU game? Things are starting to open up. Are you like connecting with Jazz fans and just the Utah community in general more?
Yeah, I think, I really wanted to go to that game because I've never been to a football game at BYU. I've heard, but things, and obviously I went to a basketball game, I think it was my rookie year, but school was out, or class was out for December, so I've never really got to experience the full environment, but also bringing the new guys, with me as well, and being able to have them receive the love and enjoy the Utah fans and understand what this environment's going to be in about, a month. So I think, not even a month, less than that. So I think for myself, just being able to be a part of the community, that's always one thing that I've always been, I've been doing, and I think I enjoy it. It's something that, at the end of the day, it's weird to say, but I'm not too far removed from college, you know what I mean? So it's definitely something that, keeps the child in you, keeps the happiness going, because obviously basketball is great, but it's business, it's part of life, and it becomes stressful at times. It's no secret. All of our jobs are. It is what it is. So for me, just keep being able to be, Donovan Mitchell would also be like, a kid in a sense as well, and also inspiring people and with my presence as well. So that's dope.
Thanks, John.
I appreciate it, guys.
Rudy.
Well, why the number change?
What's that?
Why the number change?
Oh man, I had tried to change it probably year and a half ago. They told me that I had to wait a whole year, so I wore 10 again last year, and I actually forgot all about the number change by, the off season, the season coming up, until Adam Klauke, our equipment manager, sent me a picture of my jersey, and I was like, "What is this?" He was like, "Yeah, we got your number changed." I was like, "Oh, I forgot all about it." So I was like, "That's great." So I'm excited to be 11 again.
Mike, how excited are you to play with Rudy Gay again? What's it been like just the last few weeks? Kind of, have you talked to him about Quin's system or anything about the team?
Yeah, I'm really excited to play with Rudy Gay again because we're close off the court anyway, and to see him walking around the hallways in the locker room is just like unreal. Kind of like like as if nothing happened, no time changed in between the last time we were teammates. Still the same guy. We still talk about the same things. We're just older, you know, families and kids and stuff like that, and we already know what he brings as far as an athlete and his ability to stretch the floor and his ability to make our team that much better. But as a person, as a player, as a friend, as a teammate, he's one of the best. So I think you know, we got a good one, and I think we're all excited about it.
This might be a silly question. Have you played with the new ball yet?
Yeah, we've had the ball pretty much all off season, and we've played 5-on-5 here in Utah. It's cool, you know.
Is it any different?
Not much. They just feel brand new. You know, all the brand new basketballs kind of have a little bit less grip and a little bit different. But I think they're making, you know, they'll be fine once everybody kind of wears them down.
Health, obviously, a big part of this team's success going into this year. Does this team have even more depth this year than last year to handle, you know, if there are injuries or load management issues, or give guys days off?
Well, yeah, I think we did address a lot in the off season, like not just Rudy Gay, but you know, Hassan, Eric, Love, Jared, Butler, and you think about guys we already had, Trent and Nie, and you know, guys who have been here for a while and understand, you know, what kind of team we're going to be and their roles as far as, you know, what they're going to give us on a nightly basis. And all the guys we have are ready to go. All of them are ready for, you know, one night they don't play, the next night, you know, I'm not playing or Don's not playing or Joe's not playing. Hey, you know, you go in here, fill in, you're gonna start. You're gonna be the first guy off the bench. Like, it's just, you know, we have that kind of camaraderie and that kind of trust in each guy. So hopefully with the guys we've constructed the team with, it'll help and kind of stretch us out a little bit more, as opposed to, you know, kind of having to wear us down as much during the season.
How do you, speaking of that, I mean, how do you stay healthy this year and be healthy when it not, you know, be healthy when it counts?
Yeah, I honestly, last year I felt better than I've ever felt physically, as far as, you know, movement and defense and sliding and shooting, speed, strength, all that. So a lot of it I'm gonna continue to do. There's some things I'm gonna add in from this off season's training, and I was just talking to somebody earlier. I'm picked up yoga, you know, almost religiously now. So I think just being able to mix strength with mobility and flexibility for me is a big thing. You know, if I'm not playing one night due to, you know, back-to-back 4 and 5 nights, whatever it is, not just resting, but taking that time to, you know, go in and do an hour and a half of yoga and you know, on top of doing whatever else you're doing that day, and really making a point to do that, because everything else I feel like I've checked a lot of boxes as far as, you know, health's concerned and diet and how serious I take everything else.
Do you anticipate having to maybe manage minutes, taking back-to-backs off, stuff like that?
Well, seeing that I did it last year, I think that it is safe to say that it's possible it happens again. You know, we have a team that's capable of winning with multiple guys out on different nights, and that's what makes our team a little different than a lot of teams. So you don't necessarily need everybody every night. So there probably be some nights where there'll be a couple, you know, sore spots on some guys, and they might, you know, say, hey, take this night and be ready for the next 3 or 4. So hopefully, you know, it's not as many, but you know, we do have those nights where we just need to have maintenance and get ready for the stretch run.
How much have you been able to golf with Ryan this off season?
I've golfed with Ryan quite a bit. We just right before training camp, or this week, we went on a trip for 3 or 4 days and played a little Ryder Cup style 2-team deal. So it was fun.
What is he like on the golf course, and what do you kind of learn from just kind of spending that much time around, you know, guy in Ryan's shoes?
Honestly, he's the guy I think everybody, you know, who he shows himself to be. Everybody that knows him, whether it's just through social media or never met him before, like he's the same guy that you see on TV. He's competitive as heck. You know, I think that's what makes him such a fun owner to be around. Whether it is golf, you know, while we're golfing, he's constantly like, so, hey, bro, how can we get better? And I'm like, man, we don't have any more money. Like, I don't know if you mean by like adding guys in or what are you trying? He's like, no, I just want to like, you know, how can I improve what I do, or like how can I make it easier for you guys, you know? But so he's always just constantly thinking and constantly trying to improve an experience for players or whoever there is involved in anything he's involved in.
You've had 3 very different training camps now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that has been consistent that you felt like you've been able to hold on to that now you're seeing as a pattern going into your 3rd season with the Jazz?
Well, I think what's helped is a lot of our guys come back a few weeks before training camp. So that's been a consistent theme, is we've kind of always had time to basically just play, and we all know the plays and we all know what we're doing. So we're kind of essentially having our own little mini camp before training camp, which allows us not to have to, you know, do too much during training camp or overdo it or have 2 practices a day and all that. Like, you know, I think we've kind of set ourselves when we do our work early, allowing ourselves time during training camp to just hone in on different things that we really want to focus on.
What do you think of having training camp in Vegas?
I think having training camp in Vegas will be fun. I think it'll be, change of scenery is never bad. I've been on a few, destination training camps back in Memphis and different places, and it's a good time because I think players get to just focus on basketball and focus on each other, frankly, just being around each other more so than you would be if you were at home. We'd all go home to our families and lives and then come back to work, and now we're stuck in the same hotels, we're eating the same food, we're in dinner, sessions with each other, and so I think it's good for us to just bond and have a few days.
You mentioned that you love Jared Butler. What have you seen out of him kind of in the last couple of weeks being in Salt Lake together? Because we didn't get to see him in Summer League or anything like that.
First off, he's just a really, really good dude. Seems like he's really willing to listen, which is important as a young player coming in, and willing to learn, willing to work. Every time I come in the morning, I get there pretty early because my kids get me up pretty early. Me and Joe are kind of one of the first 2 in there, and Jared's, not far behind or already beat us there. So it's cool to kind of see that work ethic in a young guy. And all our young guys, frankly, Trent going down the line, Mie, all of them have that same mindset. But, Jared has shown a lot that he can, run the point guard position, can score the ball, can, be physical defensively. He'll learn a lot as he goes. Still got a lot of room to improve, but it's been impressive.
Rudy said that there's kind of a sense among the team that there's, an acknowledgement that this group can do something special, but also the realization that not many of these windows come along during a career. How does that kind of manifest itself among the mood of the team and the habits and whatnot heading into the season?
Well, I think it helps to have a veteran presence on this team in regards to realizing that this doesn't last forever. Like that this window is not going to be here, forever. That you have to take advantage of each day, each opportunity, because like we look at last year, how close I think a lot of teams felt like they were to have an opportunity to do something special, and we felt like we were right there in that bucket, and how different things can be just like that. And a little luck here, injury free here, or different things at different points can change careers, and we have to be ready to embrace it when it does happen, when things go wrong, when they're going good. And I think this team, having the veteran presence that we do, guys who've been in the playoffs, the last 5, 6, 7 years, have all learned lessons from loss and heartbreak. So hopefully we just continue to build around that and use all that as motivation to treat every day like, hey, this might be our last time as a team. Hopefully it's not our last time. This year might be our last year to be able to compete for this, and treat it like that, and then go from there.
What are your thoughts on the rule changes they're putting in this year with kind of the offensive fouls and the jumping into guys being kind of taken out of the game? Is that change anything about what you do, and then kind of what do you think about it for the game overall?
Yeah, the rule changes don't really change much of my game. I'll still play the same. I know a lot of guys will play the same, but I'm interested to see how long the rule changes last. You know, normally they're pretty tight about it early, and as the season gets on, it becomes more lenient. So we'll just see how it all plays out. As always, the rules are different.
Do you think it can help perimeter defense?
I think essentially it could if if it's consistent enough. I think it does give the defense a little bit more of an edge there, because so far in the last few years the rules have been changed so much and so heavily towards the offensive side of the ball to where you really can't play defense as well as you want to, compared to earlier on in say my career. But so I think it could help.
Donovan says he's going to take his game to a new level. What do you think that is for him?
I think he's an all-NBA player. I thought he was last year. I think that he really had a lot of things going into the offseason that bulletin board material, typical stuff that you go home and you look at it every day and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be better at this. And all offseason he's been training. He's been locked in, and I know that he's excited to get back to work and show the world what he can do.
Thanks, Mike.
Right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Rudy, what stood out in the free agent process? I mean, I know that a lot of contenders were kind of vying for you, and I know that you took that first night to kind of make up your decision. What was it about the Jazz that made you pick here?
One in particular, I played with Mike before. And it's always good to have somebody that you're familiar with on the team. Coach, he just kept it real with me. And we talked basketball for maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, other teams, they came, and I really was in consideration for a lot of other contenders, and they reached out. But you want to be a part of something, that's great. And you kind of saw last year when they played, you kind of saw the culture and how Donovan was taking the next step, and how great Jordan played, and Mike kind of molded into being himself again, and Rudy just being a presence down there. And you kind of, when you look at for a team you want to play for next, you kind of put yourself in, trying to see where you can help. And I felt like it was an easy marriage.
When you say you look at ways that you can help the team with the Jazz, a lot of the problem, or some of the problem against the Clippers last year was that they couldn't match up small, or they didn't match up small in the switching. Do you look forward to the opportunity of maybe being able to give Utah a different look, maybe being able to play small ball?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I did in San Antonio. And, the thing about me and being around the league is just within the game, you see what the team needs, and you just got to be a part of it and do whatever it takes, especially in those moments. So, yeah, I mean, playing small ball five is just happy to be on the court.
There's probably only a handful of guys who have been in the league as long as you have, even historically. Do you have a different perspective on the NBA now at 15 years and your legacy and kind of what it means to be around that long?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I still feel like I'm building my legacy. So, like everybody that's been around as long as me, we all know each other. We laugh about it. But, it's just fun. It's fun to still be a part of something, still be with the contender, be able to play for something. And you know, and just be able to affect the guys, you know, that are younger than you on the team.
You know, guys like Vince who played for so long, you have so much respect by the time your career's kind of getting its final few years. Do you feel that, and what responsibility do you have to the league being around this long?
What responsibility do I have to the league? I don't think I owe the league anything. It's more about me and what I want to do and how much I want to be a part of a winner and how much I want to contribute. One thing about playing for 15 years, it gets harder to get up if you don't have a purpose. It's harder to get in, come in, and you know, do extra work, put up extra shots, and do all those extra things to keep yourself involved. If you don't have a purpose, I still have a purpose. I want to win. I want to be a part of a champion. You know, I want to come in there and be with the guys. I want the guys to, you know, sit down and be like, well, look, this is, you know, no matter what coach says, you know, you have to follow the general, kind of be that coach within the locker room. So, you know, it's a lot of different things, but I think it's more about me. You know, you got to be a little crazy to play this long. It ain't easy.
I know this happened a few years ago, but how did the Achilles change you, you know, as a player, and how did you adapt? Because, you know, you played so above the rim for so long, and how did it change you as a person?
Yeah. You know, I think when the Achilles thing happened, I think that I looked at it a different way, because at that point everybody kind of felt like that was like an NBA death sentence, and you know, I didn't want to be a part of that. So I kind of just reorganized my thinking and just honestly, you got to be a little crazy to come back from some of these injuries. People, you know, on the outside don't understand, like, some of these injuries that us as players have are tough, or anybody, but to come back and play basketball at a high level, and, you know, not just a high level, just as some of the best in the world, you got to be a little crazy. So, you know, I mean, at that point, I was just ready to be a part of something. And I went to San Antonio, and Coach told me what he wanted from me, and it was a lot different from what I was used to, but I was just hungry. So, and I still am.
You've been on some talented teams over your 15 years. Is this as talented a team as you've been a part of?
I can't answer that right now, but, you know, just from outside, you know, Joe Ingles has been one of my favorite players for a long time. I think he's very underrated. I think Jordan is getting his just due. I know Mike, Donovan, we know Donovan, and we know Rudy and Bog. You know, it's a great team. I think this could be one of the most talented teams I played for, but we'll see.
You've been praised throughout your career for being able to adapt to what the team needs whenever you get there. Mike had a hard time his first year when he came here. What's the key to that, to being able to kind of slip in and fill a role?
I think it's, you know, just, you know, for Mike to speak on that situation. I mean, Mike has been, you know, played one way for his whole career. Me on the end, I've been a couple places, and, you know, I've been asked to do different things. You know, just for me, it's just doing more of those different things. That's all.
Can you tell me about your foundation, the Flight 22, I think it's called?
I gotta change the name, right?
Yeah, that's true, right? Kind of what the purpose is of that, and kind of what you have accomplished and want to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just you know, it's mostly about, you know, education in Baltimore and you know, problematic areas. You know, we've done curriculums for schools, and we've graduated. You know, I don't want to make the number too high or too low, because I really don't remember, but I know we've graduated a lot of students from our curriculum, and you know, it's just about affecting the community. At the end of the day, it's a community I'm from, and these kids know me, and I want them to know me for something other than just playing basketball. So, you know, that's how I get back.
How much have you been around the guys in the lead up to OTAs and gotten to know guys, and what, if anything, has kind of surprised you as you've gotten to know the guys better?
Nothing. Just being. I mean, you know, I've played against guys, and we're on the foul line with guys. We've had conversations. I think the biggest thing would be just, doing practice and, getting to pick guys' brains and also in just, how guys deal with coaching. That's how I think that's where the bond comes from.
All right, all good? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rudy.
Thanks, Rudy.
Thanks, Rudy.
All right, let's start.
How much do you think that, the past shortcomings that you guys have had as a team, can fuel you for this season?
I think a lot. I mean, especially, after the way last season ended. Nobody's happy. I mean, for myself, I watch the game almost every day, still thinking about it. And I think a lot of guys going take that motivation that we all had, that feeling after that Game 6 into next year. And we know what we're capable of. We just got to do it, all season and in the playoffs, so to get to our ultimate goal.
When you watch the game, what do you see?
I mean, played well, for however long it was. We had some mishaps and, gave up some stuff that we can't do. But, it's basketball. You can't control everything. So it's definitely a learning experience and, just got to keep building on top of that. Can't think about it too much as last year, so.
How much do you feel like if you had Donovan healthy, you had Mike for that series, you guys would have been able to get past him?
Yeah, for sure. Don did what he could on one ankle. Mike, he came back, deep in the series, played, gave it all. Injuries hurt us. I think, everybody healthy, that's the main goal for this year. So I think we know what to do, and we know how good we can be and how we're going to be, so.
What do you think of the off-season acquisitions? Is this team going into camp better than it was last year, you think?
Yeah, Hassan, Eric, Rudy, Jared. I think, all the off-season moves that we did, keeping the main guys together as well. I think those guys have helped out a lot. But, it'll be fun. I think we're just going to pick up right where we left off, and everybody's bought into what we're trying to do here. So.
How is this team going to be better this year than it was last year?
For the most part, we have a bunch of guys who play different positions, like last year. I think probably, with Rudy and Hassan and Eric, being able to guard different positions, different lineups, or whatever. So I think, it'd be adjustment at first, but I think everybody's willing to do what they have to do for us. I think defensively is what everybody's going to pride themselves on.
What have your first impressions been of Jared Butler?
Jared, I don't even like him. Jared, he's a good kid. I remember when I went to Baylor for alumni week to play against those guys, and he had came after that. So I didn't get to meet him, but I talked to those coaches about him all the time. And then when he first got drafted, I was the first guy to text him, or one of them. But I watched him in the college, especially in the championship. He's a great player, smart. And I think he's going to be ready for it, see how he can adjust and help us out.
You've obviously spent a lot of time with Donovan off the court, and you know what he's like away from basketball. And what do you think that it's like having Eric around?
Yeah.
Full time.
Eric might get a little jealous of me and Don's relationship because Don might have to choose. But Eric's a good dude. Him and Don, childhood friends, grew up together. We was all in Miami together in off season working out. So I think just having that connection, I think Don's happy. He don't gotta do no more jersey swaps. And then, but it's just an excitement. Eric, he works hard. He's gonna bring a lot to the team. I feel like he can help us a lot. So.
What were those Miami workouts like the last, whenever they were?
Just ask Don and Eric about the track. They'll tell you.
What's the track?
Yeah.
He made you run?
For sure. See who's in shape. I'm still out running them and don't get tired. So.
But the workouts were good. I mean, we were all together working out, pushing each other, playing 5-on-5 against each other and everything. So they were good workouts.
What parts of your game, and I guess Don's game, what parts of your game overall are you trying to work on?
I mean, everything. I mean, I know I can be better at everything, every aspect of my game, and just becoming the best player I can be.
A lot of guys will, on the team, especially the young guys, you talk to them and they talk about defense, they talk about picking your mind.
Yeah.
You're the guy that they think about. What is it that what kind of advice can you give to these young guys about playing defense in the NBA?
I think just taking the challenge. I mean, having fun with it. I mean, nobody really wants to play defense, so the fact that they say they're going to pick my mind, I'm happy. It means I'm doing something right? But, just taking what I learned over the years and what I'm still learning and give it to them, I think everybody's wants to play defense, so that's going to be a great thing about this year. And then so just doing that.
All right, all good? Okay, thanks, Royce.
Thank you, Royce. Thank you, Royce.
This is one of the best teams that you will have played on in your career. What's your thoughts going into this season, and what are your thoughts to what you can do individually for that fits into the team holistically?
I want to just keep building. I think they've been right there every year. Around playoff time, that's where the struggles happens. But I want to keep building. Even when they go into the bench, like when I come in, I want to keep that defensive presence up. So that's one of the main things I want to really do.
Looks like you've kind of hung out with some of the guys since you've signed. How is those relationships formed, and how will that help you going into training camp?
Oh, it's good. I'm hanging out with them guys. A lot of these guys are around my age too. In Sacramento, I think I was the oldest guy on the team. So a lot of these guys has been in the league eight or more years like me. So the relationship is definitely easy.
When you've got a guy like Udoka on the team and he's just coming into his NBA career, do you feel like, having been in the NBA for a while, do you feel like there's a responsibility to help a young center on a team?
Yeah, I tell them stuff. I tell them like one thing. I was like, yo, stop bringing the ball down every time. I know you want to dunk every time, but these guys is not the same like them guys in college. You bring the ball down in front of a Chris Paul or guys like that, they all over it. So if you can keep it up, you can still dunk it, but don't give up the ball for a dunk. So if you dunk the ball, work on that, keeping it up and dunking it still. So just different things like that.
Watching this team so far, what were kind of your impressions? I mean, you referenced the fact that they get to the postseason and that's when the trouble usually kind of starts for them. What were kind of your impressions, and what did you feel like you could bring that would help them maybe get better at those?
I think I could bring just that same thing, that defensive presence off the bench and the offensive presence off the bench, coming in. And I don't want it to be such a big drop off, as it was in the past, and I think the way they play it's always 4 shooters out there with you. So there's no secret how the Jazz play. They move the ball, they play team basketball, they got one guy rolling, and when it's time to get a bucket, we give it to 45 Mitchell. So for either to make a play for ice or a pick and roll.
You played against him for so many years, but now that you're on the same team as Rudy Gobert, can you learn from him and can he learn from you?
Yeah, for sure. I think we can both pick each other's brain of just different things. He's very, very well adjusted into this organization. He came to a great organization in the Jazz. Ever since I've been here, I'm like, this is, if not one of the best organizations I've been a part of. I've been here for 3 weeks. So just the way they push forward to us, the players, anything you need, they pretty much there.
What has Quin Snyder been like over the last few weeks, and kind of what are your conversations?
He's nothing like I thought he was. I thought he was gonna be like a super like strict, angry guy. Looking like when he gave me a phone call, he was like, "You don't gotta call me coach. You can call me Q." And I'm like, "Oh, who is this guy? This guy's like a smooth talking. I like this guy. I might go here. I like this guy." So he's like a smooth talking guy, and it's different. It's crazy what you think of somebody. I'm a victim of that. What you think of somebody, and when you actually meet them, is way different. And I always thought he was kind of like way more like different.
Cause he's got like the scary eyes.
Yeah, because on the bench he looks like so stressed out and angry all the time. I'm like, man, y'all up 30. What are you stressed up about? He's like rubbing his head, shaking his head. I'm like, but he's just a cool dude.
Any other surprises in terms of like guys being different than what you perceived from afar?
Yeah, I didn't know Mitchell. Mitchell, he's different than I thought. He's Donovan's a little different than I thought he was. Who else? Ingles. Man, I told Ingles I hated him. So I love playing on his team, but in the game he's the biggest trash talker I ever met. So, but I'm glad I'm on his side because he loved passing it to the big man.
How's Donovan different than what you thought?
I thought he was a little more. I don't know. I thought he was a little more reserved, a little more. I didn't know he was kind of like so like joking, like big personality. I thought he was a little more standoffish, kind of like feel people out. But he jokes and it feels like I know him for a lot longer than I did.
Do you remember any particular instances of Joe trash talking you or your team?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, all through especially in Miami, he was just trash talking me every time. So I remember like he was like go get that one. You ain't gonna go get this one, or like he throwing it, he faking it. He'll fake it to Gobert and go lay it up. Like you can't go block that. Like just talk, but a lot more cuss words in it.
You know that's like his favorite move, right? Come down.
Yeah. I told him I realized that after that game, I for sure did a lot of research on him. But he already got a couple guys, the young fellas, with it. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of his passes already.
Comfortable having Dwayne Wade here too? I mean, just what's your relationship like with Dwayne?
Man, I love D-Wade, man. Just I think it's gonna be it's a little different because I was actually playing with him. I wish I could have played more years and more years with D-Wade when he was more at a higher level, But I tell people all the time that was like one of my favorite teammates all the time playing with him. He made the game so much easier, and I think people don't. I think at the time, you didn't appreciate it as much until after he left. So a lot of people think it was like a big drop off from the Heat from 2016 to 17, and I'm like, we lost D-Wade. I mean, like, what you expect?
How important? Some guys seem to, play well or fit in regardless on the floor, regardless of how they fit off the floor. How big is fit off the floor and kind of getting along with the guys? You mentioned being older than everyone in Sacramento. How important is that for you and how you think you can play?
I think it's real big. I think it's just the knowledge that you guys can share. I think it's a different appreciation when you've been in a league 8, 10, 12, 13 years like they got here. Because you've seen different aspects of this organization. And I mean, it's just a different appreciation. It's like, it's you're going to just have a different value of what you in.
One of the things we've seen is how important pick and roll chemistry is. Just
yeah.
Like getting that with Joe or Donovan or Jordan or whoever. How is that coming along in kind of the OTAs, and how do you see that developing throughout the season? I think when you got the amount of shooting this team has, and I never been on a team with this many shooters, in my career. In Portland we had 2 really big time shooters, and Dame and CJ, and Gary Trent was coming into his own, and even Rodney Hood was a good 3-point shooter, but it's like a plethora of shooters. It's like Mike Conley, Donovan, Ingles, Bogey, Jordan. It's like it just keep going on and on and on and on.
of just how many guys that can shoot here. It's like, I'm like, unbelievable. It's like, so it's so harder. The pick and roll, I think, is so underestimated when you got somebody that can shoot, because you can't go under. Even if I set a bad pick, you can't go under. And when I roll, if they coming back for the snake, the guy's on my back. So it's a 2-on-1 situation every time, rather than you running the pick and roll with a guy that can't shoot, where you can go under, then I got to re-screen, then keep going under, and then it's like nobody gets open.
Yeah.
So, and I told him it was situations in Portland where Dame would say, come set it for me at half court. It's like, it's tough. It's tough when you got guys that can knock down shots like you got here.
What's your evolution been? I mean, when you came into the league, you played a lot more with your back to the basket. Now it's a lot more facing the basket, spinning rolls, pick and pops, things like that. How's that the changing of the league around you? How has that made you change your game and to where you are right now?
I think like Coach Snyder, he told me I want to get the ball as much as I did in the pass and the post. He was just saying, it's not a knock on you, it's just our style of play. You know, that's just the way they play. It's 4 out, 1 in, and normally the roller, somebody got to stop the roll. Normally takes it off the corner. So I just think I just approach the game different. You know, I try to be the best I can be at that role. You know, rather than it's sitting in they call it the space, the reader spot, which is the corner of the basket, which is not the coolest spot to be, you know, but it's a sacrifice for the teammate, for my team, you know. And when a guy drives, it's making a big man commit to you, and a lot of times you're gonna get easy dunks or layups, and it works. You know, you guys is 55 plus wins pretty much the last couple of years, so we're doing something right.
On the flip side, on the defensive side, I mean, everything's geared, especially with Rudy on the floor, to just push everyone towards him.
Yeah.
I know you're going to get that in the second unit.
Yeah.
Is that good, or does that put a lot more pressure on you?
Nah, I've been wanting this. I've been wanting it for sure. You know, I've been wanting that. I've been wanting to be in this system for a while. So I've been wanting to see that. You know, and I seen it when they come off pick and rolls. They like, if they shoot a pull up too, they telling me that's fine. That's fine, even if it's not contested. I'm like, okay, so because they want me to be at the rim, and I'm like, hey, if that's the defense, you guys are always number 1, number 2, number 3 at defense. If whatever they saying is working, you know, and I just want to keep picking the coach's brain on that, and it's not just one guy, you know, it's a team of defenders, you know, and you got to have a team of that want to be great defenders. You know, you got underrated defenders in Royce, even Ingles, like guys like that. Them guys they got size, length, and they are underrated defenders in my mind.
How hard do you think it'll be to kind of adjust to that sort of defensive system where you're not going out to contest that shot? When Mike Conley came to the Jazz, he said it took him a while. He was over helping a lot because he wasn't used to having kind of like a rim blocking guy stay back like that.
I think it's not gonna take too long because I can just watch what Gobert do, you know, and and I can see what he does. He's protecting the rim, and the way he guarded, I can pretty much piggyback off that.
What's your interaction level been like with Rudy? You know, we're not that far removed from you guys having some great rivalry games and there being debate, you know, as to like who is the better center, and now you guys are together on the same team. How have you like been able to kind of talk to him and adjust him and pick his brain about your role on this team?
We haven't had a whole lot of conversation about that. You know, we talked a little bit. I think I just seen him. I've been here for like 3 weeks. I just seen him yesterday. So he was one of the first guys to reach out and text me, though. It was like D Wade and a bunch of the staff, and he was the first player to text me like, "Yo, man, welcome to the team. I'm glad to have you." He was like the first player to like text me. I don't have anything. I'm just here to win. I know what I'm coming into. I know I'm gonna be the guy to come in and back him up. I know what I came into.
Are you still going with Agent Block or Cal Blockula?
Oh, Lego.
What is it?
Lego.
Lego.
Yeah. I can say that. I like that one.
Building block.
This coaching staff has kind of been regarded as a group that can develop guys or get the most out of guys, what at this stage of your career do you feel like they can most help you with?
Most help me with. Most help me with. I think coming in there, getting back to the postseason. You know, I played in the postseason with Portland, but it wasn't the same. You know, it was the bubble. You know, getting back to the postseason and having a real chance of winning a championship. You know, I think we got a real chance. You know, a lot of teams come in, hey, we got a chance to win a championship, and they know they don't got a chance to win a championship, but they got a real chance to win a championship, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here.
I heard from some of the other guys today talking about the same thing and saying that window is so short in the NBA and that it only comes along, you know, so few times in one career. Do you feel like sort of a draw like that? You said that's one of the main reasons that you came here, but like, do you feel like I need to get closer to that?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think the depth of this team, even I think underrated signings like Rudy Gay, like things like that, and I think the depth of this team is what's going to be one of its biggest strengths. And I was talking to, I think, one of the other reporters. You got 2 6-man of the years, like in Ingles and Jordan Clarkson, you know, and how many teams could say they got 2 6-man of the years? And I think just that depth on a team is going to be a real big thing that goes down, you know, because injuries going to happen as part of the game. And I think that, as y'all seen in the past with other teams, that really hurt them down the line. But when you got guys that can just come in and fill in and it's not a drop-off, I think that's one of them teams that's holding up the trophies.
Everybody good? Thanks, Hassan.
All right, y'all.
Here we go.
You feel
We're back.
a little bit more normal this time around?
Yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, I forgot that we were on a video call for.
What's that?
We were on a screen on video call for.
We haven't seen you in like 2 years.
Haven't seen you since March 11th, bro.
You're right.
So you had a tough year last year to start the season, and then you were brilliant kind of down the stretch. Where do you feel like you're picking up going into this year?
I mean, I feel way better. My wrist is way better. I know how bad I was on the beginning of the last year, but I never had injuries before in my life, no surgeries. So it was kind of new situation for me, and I was really struggling to find a rhythm because I was not able to work out during the summer, but now it's different story. I had a 2 months off and 2 months to work on my game, so I hope I'm gonna look like my first year with the Jazz.
Yeah, some of the other guys on the team are a little bit more like post on social media, and so like we know what they're doing during the summer, but you don't really do that at all. So
surprise.
Yeah. So please surprise us. What have you been doing this summer?
I mean, I've been enjoying some time off with my family and friends, and also working out on my game, and so I'm not big social media guy, so I don't know if you guys like that or not, but I don't really need to post something to show all the world what I'm doing or where I am, but yeah, I was really enjoying the creation and time with my family and friends.
I don't need you to post either. I know what Donovan's
I
doing
will.
all the time.
If you want, I will.
What do you think of all the off-season acquisitions? You played against Rudy Gay for so long. Now you're going to play alongside him.
I think that we had a great free agency overall with Mike staying with the team and like you mentioned, Eric, Rudy and Hassan signing with us. So I think right now we have one of the best bench in a league.
knowing that JC and Joe are still here. So yeah, we got big bodies in all these 3 guys that we signed this free agency, and we Quin can mix a lot of different lineups as well.
How important of a year is this for you guys?
I mean, I think that this is the big year, big expectation. I think because we ended up on the best record last season, and we were unlucky that we had a couple guys injured. Mike went down. Donovan, I don't think that he was 100% going into the playoffs. Even he was our best player by far. So with the depth that we have right now, it's gonna help us overcome those injuries that I hope that we won't have this year. So I think the most important is to stay healthy and go into the playoffs with a full roster, and then we know how good we are and how dangerous we can be.
In order to go into the playoffs healthy, are you open to the idea of maybe resting more throughout the regular season?
I mean, that's the question for a Quin, but with the depth that we have and 2-3 more players in a rotation, it's obvious that it's gonna be probably we're gonna play less minutes, so we're gonna be fresh, and there's like less percentage to get injured and get hurt.
Have you watched Game 6 since it happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So I watch every game. If I play better, if we lose, I'm trying to see what happened, and I cannot explain what happened on the Game 6. So it's just we had that black hole. We allowed them to get back into the game, and it was really tough to overcome that. And then they had their fans for the first time in the arena. The crowd was getting crazy, but it was completely our fault. The team that we have and experience that we have, we shouldn't be losing the games, being up whatever 20 or more than 20.
Where do you feel like your game still has room to grow? What do you want to improve on this coming season?
I mean, we can all improve in every aspect of the game, but I was working out on my post-up game a lot this off season. Quin was trying to post me and he was trying to find the mismatches, especially after the All-Star break and going into the postseason. So I was working on that. So I hope that I'm gonna develop that and try to post more. Even we have Rudy Gay, Paschall, Hassan. They can be also playing back to the basket.
It sounds like you're expecting to play with more than a 9-man rotation this season.
I guess so. We got a lot of great players on our bench, like I said. So again, it's question for the Quin and what he sees, how he gonna rotate the player and how minutes we gonna play. But looking to our roster, we really did so.
Okay. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You guys ready?
Almost.
What were your thoughts on being traded to the Jazz, and what are your thoughts on your prospective role coming into this season?
Thoughts on getting traded? I was very happy. Again, it's all part of the NBA. I mean, it's a business, and things happen, and this is something that happened. It's part of my journey in the NBA, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be a part of it. Again, I don't know what my role is just yet. I mean, when we start practice, I'll start to see. But I'm just trying to bring energy, bring a different mentality here, and just try to be a dog at all times.
How do you feel like you've acclimated to the state and with the team during these OTAs?
State, I don't know. I'm so used to like big cities like New York, or like even going to school in Philly. but it's definitely a change. I think it'll be good for me just to have just a balance, just to be calm all the time and not have to worry about certain things or like get distracted. But yeah, the team. I knew most of the team already, so that was pretty simple. But I just definitely got to get acclimated to the city and different way of living.
What's kind of the biggest difference between living in a big city versus a smaller city?
Just things to do, pretty much. I mean, again, coming out here, New York City, you get a whole lot to do, and here it's very. I wouldn't say it's boring because like the scenery here is actually beautiful. Like one thing, like right now I'm in a hotel, but I look outside the window, I see all these mountains, I'm like, dang, like this is real. But definitely just have to get used to just being here. Like it's a whole new city. It's the same thing as San Francisco. I was in San Francisco. I had to get acclimated and understand and find out things to do to keep myself. I wouldn't say sane, but just busy. Just busy when I have the free time when I'm done with workouts.
Those workouts in Miami with Don and Royce, what were those like? Have you gone out there with them before this summer?
No. So this was actually my first NBA offseason for real because last year, my rookie year, COVID. So I didn't really have an offseason. But it was cool. I mean, it was always cool to be around them the whole summer. I mean, it was fun being able to work out, be done by like 12, and then just have the whole day to yourself. So it was pretty fun.
Do you still keep in contact with Coach Wright?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah, that's my guy.
You've had pretty elite coaches everywhere you've stopped so far. So
yeah.
What do you expect from Quin, or what's Donovan told you about him?
I've had conversations with him, and he seems like a pretty cool dude. Heard a lot of great things about him, and I know I'm not. Again, I was saying earlier, I'm not going to be able to shoot mid-range jumpers like I usually want to, but I mean it's all part of it. But again, I always compared this to Villanova because they shoot a lot of threes, and Coach Wright always taught us to catch the shoot and play off our jumper.
What's that adjustment for you? Because when you broke into the rotation in Golden State, I mean it was primarily as a small ball 5 or a small ball 4. Mm-hmm. Here you're going to be taking a lot of threes, corner threes, about to break threes, and that's not something that you've done on a consistent basis so far. So is that something that you're looking forward to doing and making a part of your game?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, again, having the freedom to shoot this many threes, and I feel like for any player that gives a lot of confidence. It gives a lot of confidence when shooting it, knowing that you're not going to get yelled at for taking this shot, or like you're not going to get snatched or anything like that. So just the confidence, I feel like, is a lot higher with shooting threes because they want you to shoot a lot of them.
What's Donovan kind of told you or taken you through about kind of the mechanics of the team and how it's constructed and kind of, what the guys are like?
Again, I pretty much knew everything about him. I mean, being in the NBA, you learn what teams like to do. So he hasn't really had to tell me that much. He just said play defense, and whatever mid-range you shoot, turn into a 3. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what he's told me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
What are your thoughts, for this season, just as a team, and have you guys set goals for yourselves, or as for what you guys want to accomplish as a team, and how do you guys get there?
Right. We're just all excited. We all know how it ended last year. We don't want to be in that position again. We want to make a championship kind of run. We know we have the guys to do it. We have the coaching staff to do it. So it's just all about putting pieces together now, and everyone's excited. Personal goals, I'm just looking to get better. Every day is the opportunity for me to get better, whether coaches put me in the game or in practice or whatever the case may be. So I'm just looking to get better every single day.
What have you been doing after summer league? Kind of what's been your focus getting ready for the regular season?
Just shooting a lot of shots. Getting in shape. My conditioning is at a new level right now. I had a good 2 weeks here, OTAs, just playing with guys, playing pickup, playing well. So my confidence is pretty good right now. I feel good going into it. I would say this is my real rookie year because last year it was kind of the draft and then straight into training camp. So I have a lot more knowledge going into it. I know what I need to do, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Tell me about OTAs and kind of how those were. Did you, I guess, first of all, did you do OTAs last year? I'm trying to remember. I guess, what was that experience like?
It was cool just to be here a little early before training camp. I was here for 2 weeks, just working out, playing pickup, being around the new guys, younger guys. So it was just cool. It's just basketball, so it's just fun. I just try to focus on a couple of things, like defensive things, making shots, sprinting to the corners, those kind of stuff.
When you say focusing on defensive things, what are you talking about?
You know, Quin has a certain way he does things, you know, with his tactics and things he likes. So just trying to implement that more into my game and my on the defensive side has really been my focus.
How excited are you for heading out to Vegas for training camp? You know, can you kind of tell us how that came about, like kind of what the idea behind that is?
To be honest, I'm not really sure, but I'm looking forward to it myself. Just being in Vegas with all the guys, you know, being able to bond, you know, have team dinners and stuff like that. Being able to, you know, do other things besides just focusing on basketball, trying to, you know, build some chemistry with the guys. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And again, at the end of the day, like, it's Vegas, like, but you know, we're focused and we know what's at stake here.
You mentioned you all know how you all remember how last season ended.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what's been the mentality from the guys who've been around to this point, and kind of has there been much talk about that and doing things differently this year, or is it too early for that?
I would say it's too early. You know, guys are just kind of, you know, focused and taking everything one day at a time, just locked in. You know, like I said, we want to make a championship run, so, you know, it starts now, and guys are just focusing up, getting ready.
Can be tough for guys in kind of your situation where you're on a contending team, right? Where maybe, you know, a guy drafted earlier or later would have been on a team that you could find some more minutes, I guess, right? Like, so what's your kind of mentality towards that, and kind of what are you learning from being on a really good team?
Right, you know, any 23-year-old that come out of college and average 20 points, you know, they want to play. You know, that's kind of what I just want to play. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, I understand it's a learning. I'm on a great team with great coaching staff and great teammates and guys to learn from. And, you know, over the past year, I've learned so much. You know, I've gotten so much better. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to just keep taking steps up and finding my way into rotation at some point. But, again, it is tough. You know, it sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm on a contending team. So, you know, I can't really be upset.
Is it uncomfortable having to change everything so much? I mean, because you had the ball in your hands so much at Syracuse, and now you're kind of, you know, off the ball quite a bit. Is it weird to be on the floor when you're not touching it that often?
You know, it's just I think one of my biggest strengths is the ability to adapt. You know, I've been to, you know, a bunch of high schools, 2 colleges, and I've played for different coaches my whole life. So having the ability to adapt to new situations and new things is a skill of mine, I would say, and it's just something that I'm really good at.
Everybody good? Any more questions? All right. Thank you, Elijah.
Thank you.
Pretty promising summer league. What was that experience like for you, and how do you build upon that heading into this season?
Oh yeah, summer league was great. It was great for me. You know, especially like not being able to play, and for me, just building off that is, you know, just going out there, working on my game, keep improving, keep getting better, and you know, just paying attention in practice, and you know, in training camp, giving it all I can. So yeah.
Have you felt more comfortable during OTAs this year, just because of that strong summer league?
Pretty much. I felt like, you know, after the summer league, you know, that kind of, you know, built my confidence a little bit. You know, not being able to play last year, and, you know, dealing with COVID previous years, you know, kind of like, you know, I didn't know what to expect, but, you know, right after the summer league game, I think, you know, it kind of helped me with my confidence and, you know, going into the season, you know, yeah.
What kind of feedback did you get from coaches after summer league play? Because obviously you had a really great showing both here and in Vegas. What did they tell you in terms of what they liked that they saw, and in terms of what else they want to see from you going forward?
I only spoke to the assistant coach Vince, who's my player development guy. You know, he kind of like just came up to me and spoke to me about, you know, my activity and what I did. You know, for him, it was just the simple thing. You know, just keep, you know, doing what I'm doing, keep getting in shape, keep running. You know, rebounding, being the aggressive guy, you know, on the paint and all that stuff. He just pretty much spoke to me about it, and you know, just kind of talk to me to, you know, keep building up of what I did in the summer league. That's about it.
Before summer league started, you'd mentioned that you wanted to keep getting in shape. How are you as far as that goes now that you're about to go into training camp?
I think I'm in pretty good shape right now. You know, I've been in the gym walking and running a lot during the off season. All I did was, you know, just run. You know, I've been, you know, I went back to Kansas for a little bit, and you know, I did a lot of like conditioning work, and I think I'm in a pretty good shape right now.
Does it help that you're going into your second season, you kind of know what to expect, or is it so much different than last year? Does it feel completely different?
I feel like it helps a little bit, you know, kind of like, you know, from what happened last year, you know, it kind of like just, you know, helped me out a little bit, you know, in terms of what to expect, or, you know, in terms of training camp. So it don't kind of look new to me right now. It's just like, okay, I know, you know, what to expect, and in my mind I'm kind of like programming it up, and, you know, like, okay, this is what I need to work on, or this is what I need, you know, to get better at. So yeah.
Were you able to connect with any other players from the team, not at summer league, you know, kind of just over the summer?
No, we didn't.
Do you call Florida home? Is that where you spent most of the off season?
Yeah, Jacksonville. Yeah, my host parents live in Jacksonville, so that's where I spend most of my summer.
Where do you work out when you're down there?
My high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, my high school gym over there.
What school did you go to?
Porter's House Christian Academy.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's it been like for your host parents, like kind of seeing you go on this journey, you know, going from, you know, where you came from to where you're in college to now being in your second year in the NBA? What did you guys talk about this summer?
For them also, like, you know, it's been a learning experience for them because they haven't been through all this before. For them too, it's, you know, they kind of embrace the role. You know, they are happy. You know how far I came and all that stuff. But for them, you know, it's just about like they keep, you know, wanting me to get better, keep improving and all that stuff. And you know, it's been great. It's been fun for them too.
We talked to Justin James, who said he played against you in high school, and I'm curious, do you remember playing against him in high school?
I don't remember playing against him, but he said, you know, it was actually in the weight room, and then he came up to me and he said something about it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, really? You know? So you don't remember it at all? No, I don't remember that. Because his high school team, it's like they have different teams every time we play them. So it was like, okay, cool.
Any more questions? All right.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you, guys.
I guess, what are you trying to show in this new kind of setup with the Jazz, and why do you think you're a good fit?
Just my versatility, being able to guard multiple positions, you know, just being able to do multiple things on the floor and do whatever coach is asking me to do, really.
What was the kind of arrangement of landing in Utah? What was your off season like?
Busy, definitely busy. You know, still being a part of Sacramento until the last few weeks, and then got the call, and then came up to Utah for a workout, and then about a few days later, they pretty much said, we want you back.
What's that feeling like when you kind of go into such an uncertain off season and then you land somewhere and you know you've got some money?
It's definitely how would I put it? You know, you can't wait for it to happen. You know, it's exciting. Yeah, you know, you get a little anxious as well, but it's pretty much you know, you worked your whole life for it. You know, so it's pretty much you get there, you have your opportunity, you take advantage of it, and then, you know, whatever the outcome's the outcome.
How have OTAs gone, and how do you feel like you're fitting in with the team?
It's been going pretty well. You know, the team hasn't been fully back yet, so I've been playing with the young guys a lot. You know, so it's definitely been well. You know, a lot of talented players.
Speak of playing with the young guys, has anyone impressed you?
I mean, a lot of people. I mean, so I played against Udoka in high school, so you know, playing against Dope, you know, he's always a presence down there in the middle. So it was nice to see him.
How much different is he now than he was in high school?
I mean, he's just so much more of a presence. You know, he's also learned, you know, like what spots to go to on the floor, how, you know, how to get easier shots. He's just a better overall player.
So can you tell yourself to maybe kind of introduce yourself to Jazz fans, just kind of, you know, what you like to do off the court, You know.
I mean, I'm a team player. You know, I'm a fun guy, as Kawhi say. You know, I just be chilling. I'll be inside watching Netflix, playing the video game. You know, hanging out with my teammates. You know, hanging out with my family. That's pretty much it, man.
What are your shows and what are your games you like?
So my favorite show, y'all gonna get me. So I just finished Game of Thrones. It was amazing, amazing. Just finished it. So now I know what the hype was all about. Yeah, so I would say Game of Thrones is my favorite right now.
You don't need to be embarrassed about it. I finished like a year ago.
Yeah, oh, okay.
You weren't disappointed with the finale.
Yeah, season 8, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Do better. Good.
What you were able to accomplish in summer league, and you know, what are your thoughts for your role as you head into preseason?
Just trying to continue to play, be a star in my role. Learned that last year through this guy named Mark Lytle, who didn't really get a lot of shots, or didn't really get a lot of like the credit, but he was a star in his role. So just trying to be that, whatever the Jazz asked me to do, to try to just do that to the highest of my ability.
So do you know what your role is? Because, you know, the last summer league game, whenever you showed off all your playmaking that you haven't shown off a whole lot in your career, do you know what they want to see from you?
No, not really sure. We'll figure that out sooner than later, though.
How much contact over the off season did you have with your Baylor teammates, and then also where did you work out? I worked out in Miami and in Phoenix, and I talked to a few of the guys quite a bit. I know I talked to Davion like 3-4 times a week, every other day pretty much. So we talked a lot. Talked to Mark a lot. Talked to JB a lot. Talked to Flag, LJ. Talked to like a lot of those guys, like a ton. So just keeping in contact with those guys, because the relationships you build on teams are unforgettable. When you were working out in Miami, did you link up with Don, Royce, and Eric?
They came after me. I was there during their season actually.
Oh, okay.
What's it like for, you know, somebody that just came off of a national championship, you know, and coming into a team that's as established as the team that you're coming into? You know, what's the mentality like going into OTAs? What's the mentality like going into training camp, and how do you fit into that?
Just trying to compete at the highest level. I feel like that's where I fit in. It's a winning culture here. It's a winning culture previously for me, and just doing whatever it takes to win. I know it's a lot of sacrifices that are made going into winning, and I'm willing to make those sacrifices.
We've heard some good things about Jared Butler and OTAs. Kind of what have you seen kind of playing with him?
With JB?
Yeah.
Really talented scorer, can shoot the ball well, makes plays, can defend. So I just really enjoy playing with Jared, and I just feel like he has a lot of potential.
What are you able to show? Because you played with such a good backcourt in Baylor, but you also have a lot of those skills like you showed in Summer League. What are you hoping to show now that you've got kind of different teammates around you?
Just my playmaking abilities, leadership, even more, and just being able to just fit in with the guys.
Thank you.
Is that where it is right there?
No. It's here. You'll just hear it.
Okay.
First up?
First of all, I guess we just got the release on all the front office changes. Do you mind just kind of telling us about them and what to expect from them?
All of them?
Yeah.
By memory?
I guess kind of an overall vision
Sure.
of what you wanted to do with the front office, and then any kind of highlights or standouts you want to mention.
Sure. First of all, very excited about the new additions coming to the Jazz. I think part of it shows Ryan's commitment to helping us continue to build a very strong front office, health performance, coaching staff. You've seen the numerous releases about all the other additions, and also very happy for employees' growth with the promotions that we've had. These people have been ready to do more, and this is a way to recognize them. With some of the new additions, some of them, very strategic, but also really high character, high level of work product people, especially Luka and Chuck, that are coming on that are new additions. And then filling out our scouting staff, and just not even really a reorganization, but just putting people in the places that they've shown the most growth and that can give the best benefit to the Jazz organization now and going forward. Our whole job in the front office is to support the coaches and players and health performance staff to help provide what they need and help us make really good decisions.
When you look at this season upcoming for you, what are some of the things that you guys have learned from playoff runs in the past that you could possibly translate to what you guys are trying to do this year?
Sure. Thanks, Tony. Every experience when you go through playoff runs, unfortunately, 29 teams are disappointed with the end result every year. And the best thing that we can do is always look back and see what we can always do better. NBA seasons themselves, every single year is different. It's a new year, and taking some of those lessons to continue our continuity, to add some veteran pieces that we think can add to the group. We've got a good coach and good players, and we need some good health this year and good fortune, as any NBA team does. So I think those are lessons. We're an introspective group, and from ownership on down, giving us the resources and tools to continue to improve and have a chance to be the last team standing. Before any other questions, real quick, I just wanted to say one quick thing. It's not so much a preamble or a filibuster or anything, but with events around Salt Lake City this weekend, I just wanted to express my deepest condolences to the family, friends, and teammates of Utah football player Aaron Lowe following his tragic passing. Broke my heart this weekend, and having a young person with his life in front of him to have that happen, it just reminds us how short it is, and I can only imagine what his family and friends and the organization's going through. So my prayers are with them.
Justin, how comfortable are you with your team's vaccination level?
We are 100% vaccinated, so very comfortable. It's been, our guys, our staff, all committed. Even my daughter Ava, who's 14, once she became eligible to have a vaccination, and she wears her mask at school. And I said, if anybody ever asks you why you're wearing your mask at school, tell them that you're protecting Donovan, you're protecting Rudy, and you're doing her part to help the Jazz win a championship. And I think it's reflective of what our players, our coaches, and staff, as a commitment of we're still going to have COVID protocols, we're still going to have, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so taking care of the things that we can control. There's enough that we can't control during an NBA season, so I'm happy to be able to say that.
Speaking of those things out of your control, do you feel like this season, is there a turn to like a bit of normalcy after last season?
I hope. I get to I'm wearing a suit today, so that's something different for a year and a half. Look, the NBA has done an unbelievable job getting us through the last season with everything, and things are still, you still have to be aware and concerned. We have, all the protocols in place. We have, COVID coordinators, and making sure that we're doing everything that we need to do to keep our team safe, our fans safe, our community safe, and doing our part. I do think that last year was so new with how condensed the season was and the enormity of the protocols that we've had last year to get used to them. They're a little different now, so I think it's something that, to answer your question, looking forward to it, I'm looking forward for all of it to be over, but I do appreciate the experience that we've had over the last year to be able to handle this. It always seemed like a new road trip or a new, protocol coming out. There's been enough time now where we're pretty familiar operating in this type of environment at a high level as well.
Justin, is that a point of pride, being able to say that the whole team is vaccinated? I mean, I'm sure that you've seen news in recent days. There's been pushback and concerns about players and being able to come to training camp on other teams.
Yeah, I think, look, it's every person's choice, but the fact that our players and our coaches in health performance and the entire organization chose to do that to protect each other. Says something about I think you already know how high character our guys are and how much they care about each other, and I think this is a simple gesture to each of them, between them, as well as our fans and our communities, so that when they're out and about, that people know. And but yes, I am proud of them. I'm proud of them.
When it comes to the things like you said you can't control, last season we saw not only injuries to Mike and Donovan towards the end of the season, there was also some fatigue with Joe, and he had to take on some extra ball handling duties. With some of those guys, do you expect that there might be a little bit more, I guess, care taken to some of them throughout the season? They might be resting a little bit more to deliver them healthy to the postseason?
I think, Coach and his staff have done a great job of managing a roster, and every roster is different. This year, certainly we've had, in a condensed off season, the Olympics, the season running so late for us, and then a chance there. Certainly, there's going to be a different approach every year on and the roster and the age and what it is. We have a very veteran group, and we think we've added some players that can help Coach manage that as well. So, the season is a long one. We're going back to 82 games and what that cadence is like as opposed to last year, playing 72 in such a condensed place. And then getting ready for the playoffs. And the most important part is that we're ready, healthy, and playing at a high level when the playoffs begin, and then being able to sustain that through that period.
I want to ask about, in particular, the health and performance staff changes, and obviously Donovan's injury was a big part of what happened last playoffs. What were kind of your goals in terms of changing the training staff, and kind of how do you see that kind of playing out moving forward?
So with the training staff, there wasn't any impetus to change it because of any events last year. Look, injuries happen. Return to play, there's always, a bit of a debate and negotiation between players and doctors and health performance people. So that has nothing to do with it. We obviously lost Doug Burrell last year in his passing. And then, as any professional, professionals have choices on what they want to do. And Mike decided he wanted to pursue some other opportunities. This season was a grind for everyone. I don't want to speak for him about what those personal things were, but our job here with the Jazz is to, continue to put, world-class healthcare performance program in place for our players. And we have, some great people on staff, and we were able to add to them, and then put people in roles to make sure that we're, set, ready, and in sync with everyone else as we start the season, to give us the best chance possible to be healthy.
OTAs over the last couple of weeks, what have early returns been like?
It's been a little different this year, Andy, because of the short turnaround, normal, and then also with some COVID testing. So players normally we would do Monday through Thursday for basically the entire month of September, people trickling in, and then really this weekend, like most guys in past years would get out for kind of a long weekend. They needed to remain here to start testing there. So it's been more of a combination of individuals and then having a chance for some of the young guys to have contact and be ready. It's been really good, I think, for, I really think about Elijah and Doak. Not to single them out in any way in terms of their play or anything. They've been very good, but makes me think back to last year when we had a draft. I'm sitting here giving a press conference. They literally start camp like 4 days later. It's like being dropped off on a different planet. When you don't have this summer league and OTAs. So Jared Butler's experience is a little bit more normal for him to be ready for camp. And Elijah and Doak, it was really taken away from him last year. And I really felt that. Seeing how acclimated they are now, and then their heads were spinning last year. But yeah, I think a lot of it is just getting these guys ready for their first camp of a full season, and the young guys getting a chance to play.
Are you, you guys are expecting to be a really good team. this year. But are you guys at the point where, I think every team gets to a point at some point where, what they do in the regular season doesn't matter. It's what they do in the playoffs that matters. Are you guys at that point, or does first seed or second seed or 60 wins or whatever, does that still mean a lot to you?
So, first of all, about the expectations, we embrace it. Every season offers a new opportunity. We have some great roster continuity and some exciting additions, and looking forward to seeing what our coaching staff can do with that. I think from Ryan on down, the commitment that he's made for this team, along with coach's commitment, our commitment to put the best players in the court, and our players' commitment. I think the regular season is still very important. Obviously, ultimately we're going to be judged on our results in the playoffs, and the regular season contributes towards seeding and positioning and games to be connected and how coach works out, who plays and when and with who. So I don't see us, saying, hey, the regular season doesn't matter. It matters. The playoffs matter too, in combination of both. So, we're going to go out there and try to win games and try to be connected and try to be healthy and then see what comes.
You're moving training camp to Las Vegas. What was the hope for what comes out of that and kind of being on the road together?
Yeah, sort of almost like opening a training camp and a little bit of a road trip, because it's not too long. We're only down there for 3 days. With some of the new guys and veteran guys, a chance for them to spend some time together. We also have some stuff going on in the building at ZBBC and here at the arena that buys us a little more time to get some stuff, cleaned up and construction and things like that. But really, it was a time Coach wanted to have this new group come in and spend some time together, and doing that on the road, it always helps. Plus, the way our schedule is, we can do these 3 days, come back, play 2 road games, and then really from the 7th until our first game against Oklahoma City on the 20th, we're home. So that's kind of where I anticipate it being more of a training camp and 2 weeks here in the facility.
How's Jared? The last time we talked to you, he was just kind of doing individual stuff.
Yeah, no, great. And I think I clarified it when we were talking about Summer League. It was just more the timing of Summer League and where he was coming off, and part of his, there were no issues, fully healthy. It's just the timing of that contact, we didn't think was good for his return to play. He's been here all month, contact, playing 5-on-5. He's looked great and ready to go.
So he doesn't need like a season to adjust or slow down or anything?
No, not at all.
For several years, the basketball ops department's been kind of headed by you and Dennis and David, and now it's you and different people. What can you kind of tell us about, the differences in terms of how things operate and in terms of the new guys who you're interacting with?
Sure. First of all, we've operated at a high level here, and I've had some great teachers and mentors in my life with great experience. In the same vein, a lot of those people have been doing the same thing with me for quite a while, with Stephen Schwartz and Bart Taylor and Mark Heese and Andrew Mealy, and they were ready for more. And, the promotions, the titles more reflect what they've already been doing, and that they were ready for this opportunity. So we're going to operate much the same way in terms of being connected to coach, connected with our players, in a servant type of role of really trying to provide the best roster for coach, the best health performance for players, acquiring the best players that we can, and investigating any opportunity. And this is sort of a natural evolution of this. With how we're set up, but you're going to be hearing a lot of the same things and a lot of the, the same processes that we have, and then always looking to innovate and try to do things better, as we've always done.
All things considered, when you look at the end of the season, or when you look towards playoffs this coming season, is there like a benchmark in your mind, like that would be a failure, or that would be a disappointment, or this, like, obviously I think a lot of the perception is you need to make it out of the second round. Yeah.
I'd like to make it all the way.
Yeah.
So, I can answer it. It's just more the first part that comes to my mind is, again, 29 teams end up with a result that they were hoping would be not that one. So I think the commitment that all of us have made, starting with Ryan, and we're at salary levels that the Utah Jazz have never been before. We're grateful and thankful for that, and I think we've deployed it in the most efficient way possible and the best way possible. We know that the type of talent that we have on this roster, the coaching acumen that we have, and the group that we've put together. And so, as I said before, we embrace the expectations. We have goals of those. I don't know if it's necessarily black and white where it's like, oh, we did this so we can sit back and say, hey, we made it out of this. Like, the goal every year is to try to win it. And this group together, I think, just like last year, we gave ourselves chances to do that, and we're giving ourselves another chance to do that this year. And hopefully with the experience from last year and the year before, that it becomes an evolution of finally being able to break through.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Just as a follow-up to that, I guess what encourages you, what makes you believe that what this year gives you a better chance to go all the way than what you had last year?
I think another year of experience, another year of continuity with a lot of our main players. Look, our off season, some people would say we tried to improve around the fringes. Well, the reason you try to improve around the fringes is because the core is really, really good, and have had a high level of success and production and in past results. So taking that and trying to add a little more versatility, a little more depth maybe, that to get through the regular season as we get older and need to rest some certain guys just coming off this short off season. That's just going to be a natural byproduct of the way season was set up. So just trying to get through that and give ourselves another chance to keep this window open of this group that we have together.
One of the things I've heard is that having Ryan and having Dwayne around gives the team kind of a different energy, and kind of the off-season conversations you end up having and the team ends up having. How have you seen that kind of play out over the last few months of the off-season, and what impact has it really had?
Ryan and his ownership group have been just absolutely great to work with. Their involvement is in support of, like, hey, how can we help? How can we help do whatever we can to help the Jazz win a title? Whether that's from a financial standpoint, from branding standpoint, from mentorship, and just being here. He loves being around the team. He's got Ryan especially, and Dwayne and Ryan Sweeney. They have a ton of stuff going on, but they are by no means absentee. They are involved and excited to be involved, and great resources for me and coach and our players for things that we want to run by them. And they're obviously owners, so they own the entire team, but they're partners with us in terms of trying to help us in any way possible. So it's been great.
With Milwaukee winning, I know it's been a few years since you were there. Did that feel like a process you remember kind of building to get to that point? And is that something you can carry over here? I mean, does it feel like, hey, that was the plan all along?
Look, with Milwaukee, credit to them. They went out and won it, and certainly, if you look back in past history, it takes a while for teams to get together. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to go through awful disappointment for 2 or 3 years before you break, but there are some trends of that as teams are, filling out their core and producing at a high level, and then, each playoff series and year is completely different, and sometimes you have good health and good luck, and when the moment comes, you're able to produce, and other times it just doesn't. All those things have to come together, and it doesn't happen. So Milwaukee's an example. The Bulls, before they started their run, was an example. Detroit before that, many different teams, as opposed to just even Golden State had to go through a couple years. Oklahoma City. So what we're doing is, we've got foundational players in their prime and a great supporting cast around them that are in their prime. So, and that they've been together for a while, that we didn't throw all these guys together in 1 year and say, hey, here's all this talent, go figure it out. I think continuity helps, and certainly you see that it can happen. We always knew it can happen. We just do everything we can to have it be us.
Does it feel like there's a different feeling around the league because the Torontos and Milwaukees and Phoenixes are having success when there aren't huge profile names?
I don't know, Ben. I've always just kind of, I'm about to start my 9th year in the league on this side, and I've just felt that there's so many organizations that have gotten a lot smarter. All the technology available, all the talent that is out there, teams are doing a better job of just acquiring and team building. So what I think it is that from a competition level and the way our rules are set up, that whatever market level or size or TV market, that if you build a good team, it doesn't matter where it is, you can win. Without something saying, excuses, I've got one arm tied behind my back because I'm in this market or anything else. I think there's many examples, as you've just listed, of if you do things right, that you can win a title, and multiple ones.
Time for one last more, if anybody else has one.
What's your best path? What's your path to a title this year?
Win 16 games in the playoffs.
What's the process
Sorry
of winning those
smart.
16? What's the process? What goes into the ingredients
I'm
of winning those 16?
I'm going to tell you a real quick golf story, okay, with your question that you asked. So this is like 5 years ago, actually longer than that. It's before I joined the Jazz. Gina and I are on an island. It was really before we even had kids, and I'm playing golf. And you have to have a caddy at this place. And, they're supposed to help you read the greens, right? And so normally it's like, okay, this one breaks left or right. And I was like, where am I supposed to hit this? I'm like 15 feet from the hole. He goes over, takes the flagstick, points it in the hole. That's where you're supposed to put it. So
is it that
I'll let
simple?
you ask the question again if you don't want to smart-ass answer.
What are the ingredients and what goes behind your ability to win 16 games come playoff time?
Health, talent, being connected. We have absolutely everything here to give us the best chance to win. Now those things have to come together. Again, some of them are in our control. Having a great coach and staff, having great players with high character that care about each other and like each other, are connected, familiar with each other. It comes down to health. If we're healthy, we're good. We're really good.
All right, thanks, Justin.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Justin.
Really appreciate it.
Yep. I get to go take this suit off.
Well, I think I'd like to start just with condolences to Aaron Lowe's family and the tragedy that happened recently. Like I said, condolences and heartfelt wishes for them as they handle that situation as best they can. It's been seeing all of you guys, seeing our players. I'm excited to come back and have a group that's enthusiastic about playing, and I know has worked hard this summer to put ourselves in a position to really compete and hopefully have an outstanding year. Congratulations to the people in management that Justin and their group, and they certainly had a busy summer, and the people that were promoted, welcome to the people that were added, and we're ready to go.
When you look at this season, the depth of the roster and the number of returning vets, the core is pretty much intact. What are your thoughts? Just managing and coaching this team.
Well, I think last year, a big part of the year, two things. One was about, we began to establish an identity, over the course of the end of the previous year, and then, in the summertime in the bubble, and that continued, and a lot of focus, emphasis, work in that area. Additionally, you're aware, even from the beginning of the year, the things that potentially will present challenges for your group, not just in the regular season, but as you move forward in the postseason. So, with respect to our core, I'd like, and I'm confident, and it'll, there's not to say that we don't need to be refreshed, but I think that the formulation of that identity, hopefully allows us to continue to grow in other ways. And, I'm not fond of the expression "run it back." That's not what we're trying to do. And, I think the addition of Hassan, his ability to protect the rim and do many of the same things Rudy does. Rudy Gay, I think the versatility that he provides, some of the things that he can do offensively, some of the things he can do defensively, gives us, some other looks, and it'll take some time for us to, to weave those guys into the mix, and as you said, get even more continuity. But given the fact that we have the core and we think we know how we want to play, we think we know ways we want to improve and get better. Obviously, I mentioned those two guys as free agents. Jared, getting Jared Butler in the draft. Trent Forrest's emergence, for those of you that watch some summer league. So a lot of guys that I think to have a competitive group. And it's tough to crack when you've got 2 sixth men of the year. It's tough to crack a rotation, but I don't think that doesn't mean that certain players can not have an impact. I think we can have some guys, no matter how many minutes they're playing, that can impact and move the needle and provide us, a different type of depth.
Years, you've added the kind of added emphasis through the team, whether that's like high pass or like last year, the transition threes, right? What is that for this year? How do you want to evolve your style of play?
Yeah, I think there's a balance between, continuing to double down on the things that you do well and understanding that anytime you have some success in a certain part of the game, the NBA adjusts to you. That happened a few years ago when Rudy led the league in dunks, and all of a sudden people were trying to take away his role. So some of that's anticipating what those adjustments are. You can identify certain teams that play you certain ways. Those are games, and that's film that you watch, over the course of the summer. And whether it's, again, kind of raised awareness from the group, that those are things that we're going to see and we're going to have to be better against. I think we addressed that on some level with the roster, with more versatility. And then it's a question, of, I think, situational basketball, where there's certain concepts that we know, we have success doing, where our execution can improve so that people can't take us out of our strengths. And then there's other things that, for lack of a better word, like are counters to those things, that can help us grow on both ends of the floor. We saw a lot of evolution with our group last year. I think that the team that you saw playing in the early part of the year, we really progressed. Some areas that may be more subtle than others that really impacted the bottom line. And, we have an expression, Kaizen, and we want to keep getting better. And that's, to me, what it's about, whether it's the summer, continue to get better during the course of the year, both individually, collectively, and in combinations. And I think all those things, coming together and improving in all those areas, you see your team get better throughout the course of the year, and that's what we want to do.
Are the things that Hassan's done successfully in his career, do those translate to what you're asking of your big guys to do?
Yeah, one of the things that I was, excited about when, we reached out to Hassan, and I think Hassan recognized that as well. It's not hard for him to look at Rudy, and you remember some of those matchups. I'm sure those two guys will talk about that, but they're similar. They're certainly different in some ways, but I think probably more similar in others, just with their ability to protect the rim. There'll be somewhat of an adjustment. There always is. We went through this with Mike. For Hassan, you're playing with different players than you've played with before, and getting to know those guys and adjusting to them. And the same thing for the other guys. I think Hassan's wingspan is maybe 1 inch less than Rudy's, so he's probably on the rack trying to stretch himself out. But you guys will have to confirm that with the two. Those are two pretty long guys.
Several of the guys have mentioned coming to the realization that they feel like this is a team that has a chance to do some special things, but balancing that against the idea that those windows don't always stay open for very long. Are there tangible ways that you can see that idea kind of manifest itself as OTAs happen, as training camp approaches?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the fact that you're hearing that from our players, just that awareness in and of itself is the first step. And then I think to be, really transparent about the areas that you need to accomplish that. There's so much of the league, I don't know who's favored to win it, but my guess is they're, 20% chance to win. I mean, there's so many things that have to happen for you to win the whole thing. You guys can check all the numbers, but injury, matchups. There's a lot of things that you can't control, but I think having the awareness that there is a window, and to allow yourself to really appreciate that and be in the present and play every possession and try to get better every day. I mean, those are all things that hopefully motivate not just a group individually but collectively. And I think that's, one of the things for us is because we have balance, because we have a lot of players that are capable of making plays, that unselfishness and that connectivity is really where our strength lies. And to understand that there's lots of external factors that can impact that, and to be able to close those out and really focus on the things that you need to do to be better. And to also understand that other teams, are actively going to try to exploit those teams to split you apart. And for us, that's something I think you learn through experience and competition, and this is another opportunity there.
Quinn, Rudy Gay said it was a conversation with you that kind of sold him on coming here. I want to know, first off, do you remember the conversation? What can you share about that?
Yeah, I remember the conversation vividly. We had met with Rudy a few years ago prior to him going to San Antonio, and we were kidding on the phone. It felt like kind of a college home visit. We were in Austin, and he was just coming off his Achilles. And I've always, he's one of those guys that from afar, when you watch the game, you see things you like. I think the thing that resonated from the conversation is, there was a humility and a real willingness to want to contribute any way that he could. And part of that contribution is him being a playmaker, and I think he's got the ability, particularly at his height, to do a lot of different things on the floor. And we'll figure out how that, fits in with our group. But we talked about, he's a guy, I think he went from maybe 2.3 threes a game up to just under 4. Playing next to Rudy Gobert, has a tendency to create some open shots for you. And I think he's hungry to continue to evolve his game. I felt talking to him that, his experience and his maturity, there's certain players that you as a coach can talk to and learn from them that you trust. And he was one of those guys out of the gate, for me. So it was a very, I think, candid, open conversation, and it felt like 5 minutes, not 45. So The last thing I'd say is, oftentimes, and I think this has been true of a number of guys that we've had, you get to a point in your career where it's good enough. You've been in the league for, I don't know how long Rudy's been in the league, 12, 13, 14, a long time. And when you're in the league that long, it's very easy to just be content. Occasionally you'll see players that they feel like there's more they can accomplish. Usually that means winning a championship. I think in Rudy's case, there was kind of a thirst to improve. So some of our subsequent conversations involve those things, where I think there's things that he can do for us that with our team are really unique. Whether it's post a mismatch. If you look at his isolation defense numbers in San Antonio, they're very good because of his length. And at the same time, I got the sense that it's workmanlike, like, whatever you need, coach. And that's all. When someone goes in with that frame of mind, they're usually able to do a lot of things that you need.
We heard all day today from Jay-Z and then from many of the players how important health is going to be and how much that kind of resonated, especially after the way that the playoffs ended last year. Going into this season, there's more depth and there's also another quick turnaround that you had from last season. So do you anticipate maybe more focus on getting guys rest or expanding the rotation so that you conserve minutes?
A couple things, if you look at, say, Donovan's injury, and I don't know that there's any way you tell him to play without jumping. Yeah. Mike didn't play back-to-backs. So it's something that we have been really aware of. Some of it, I think, is luck. We were really good last year when guys were out. I think we adjusted very well, and then we did play more guys at those points in time. The rotation that we had last year, it's tough to crack. A 9-man rotation, if you look around the league, that's, some teams play 10, but consistently playing 9. Developing, there has to be opportunity. And if Mike's playing 29 minutes a game, I think all our guys, we're not playing guys heavy minutes. So I guess what I'm getting at, we have an expression, compete on health. And I think that that's something for each of our guys individually, and certainly for me as the head coach looking for those opportunities. Last year with COVID, even though there was a short term, we didn't shoot around very often. We have a team that, as I said, that identity I think is, it may not be in the forefront of their minds right now, but I think it will be shortly. But more than anything, I think it's good fortune. And then it's also, the ability to play through those situations and how you handle them and how guys adjust. But we certainly, there's a lot of things that happened, last year in the playoffs. And I don't want to look to just rest or injury, because those are some of the things you have to overcome. And, hopefully, we get a break. We had Bojan out the year before against Denver, so but there's more work to do even if everybody is healthy.
Not to ask you about all your private conversations with your team, but Jared Butler said you called him on draft night, and after he slipped, it kind of made him feel a lot better and that he was in the right spot. What do you think about guys who kind of enter the league with some adversity, even if it's just something like falling on draft night, and then what do you expect from him, or what have you seen from him?
When I was at Duke, one of the things that Coach K told me at one point is that the relationship, your career, a lot of times it begins in the recruiting process. And that's the opportunity that you have, to begin to formulate a relationship. I think with the exception of a draft interview or watching a player play, you don't really have a chance to get to know them until they get here. That was, with myself and Jared, it was really about, adversity. And I think he needed to know what a good player that we thought that he was, across the whole organization. So, if there's a guy, the character that he has was demonstrated in some of the pain that he felt, and I think the way that he's handled that and the way that he's worked is also emblematic of that same character. We got a couple pretty good guards, but there'll be opportunities. I think for us, with some of the guys that are going to be competing for rotational minutes, one of the key things for them is to be able to come in and play in shorter stints and be able to impact the game. I think oftentimes, if a guy's used to playing 28, 30 minutes in college, that's an adjustment, and not to put too much pressure on yourself if you miss a shot. Just did you take the right shot? And, for us as coaches, to really try to empower those guys to do the thing. Mie last year, the impact he had just running the floor or going to the offensive boards. But then Mike's playing again, and George had a pretty good year. So suddenly you're squeezed out of a rotation, but you still have to be ready to play. So, I think Jared understands that, and I think his maturity and his mental makeup. And, I told him Rudy wore 27 for a reason. So he doesn't need to wear whatever his number was. Frankly, I don't care where he was drafted. I'm just glad he's on our team.
I got time for one more.
What do you think about going to Vegas for training camp?
That was a discussion. So when we were in the bubble, there was part of that process that I thought really helped our team. And it was a lot of things. It was eating together. It was the ping pong table. It was something as simple as coming down the elevator and walking through the hallway and you're at the gym, like literally not getting on the bus. And for me, the one thing that I asked our guys to do this summer was to work on their own and come back in shape. And we have a longer preseason this year, which I think allows us to take it in segments. And to me, that first segment, the opportunity to get away and really focus on our group and to be around each other. When practice is over, not everybody goes home. Certain guys, including myself, have to get up pretty early. We've got a couple new guys with some new additions to their families. So there's a focus there. And we were able, Albert Hall from Hall Pass Productions, who helps put on the Summer League, also used to do Adidas Nations. When I called him and asked him, is this something that we think we can do? Kind of asked him to run with it, and what we got back was more than, it exceeded expectations. So the enthusiasm that hopefully we have going down there together, the opportunity, I think, for us to process last year, mentioned not running it back. There's certain things, like it's okay to run back some things, but I think the time for us to be together and have real dialogue about what it is that we need to do to be better and set the table that way is as important as anything. And, Las Vegas gives us a chance to do that. I don't know if that includes the craps table or not, but that's okay too. We want guys to connect and bond and be together, and I think they're all excited to play.
Craps table, ping pong table.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Bourrée, blackjack, who knows? We'll have to name a play after one of them. We do have a bourrée.